Once again, it's the third home game of the 2018 season here at beautiful Caledonia Park. Put your hands together, please welcome the VI Raiders! Once again, it's the third home game of the 2018 season here at beautiful Caledonia Park. At this time, we'll ask you to please rise, remove your hat, and join the 2016 Country Idol winner, Andrea Adams, in the singing of our...
Welcome inside Nanaimo's Caledonia Park, week number 5. Week number 5 in the British Columbia Football Conference. Thanks so much for joining us here on BCFC TV. My name is Dominic. This season as the Paul, when these two teams met in week 4, it was nasty. It was classic Island rivalry. We saw 3 suspensions for the Rebels out of that game, and their head coach, Charlie Cardelicchio, resigns. Shane Beatty is in charge of this Rebels group now. Paul, how does that impact this game in your mind?
Well, I think what it did for the Rebels is it sort of put them back at the drawing board to decide what type of team do we want to have as we move forward in the league. Shane is a very good football coach. He's had success with the Okanagan Sun, took them to the Canadian Bowl in 2015, and he brings a different attitude to the entire squad, a little bit of accountability for the players, if you will, as well as accountability big time. So I think you're going to
Raiders are 3-1. They are tied for first place with the Valley Huskers, and Paul, they've been a sharp-looking club early in this season.
Well, I think the Raiders are on the track that they're going to come out and play a completely different game that we're expecting to see today for sure.
The Vancouver Island Raiders are 3-1. They are tied for first place with the Valley Huskers, and Caledonia Park, it doesn't get much better than this, and we're glad you're here with us on BCFCTV.com. Yes, indeed, another installment of the Island Rivalry. The Westshore Rebels in Nanaimo here at Caledonia Park to take on the Vancouver Island Raiders. Dominic Abassi, Paul Short, so glad you're with us here on BCFCTV.com. And these two teams coming off the bye week, a rematch of the game we saw in Week 4 down in Langford. The Westshore Rebels losing at home 33-7 to the Vancouver Island Raiders, and at least to me, a bit of a surprising scoreline. I really expected that to be a much closer game. The Raiders offense putting up 375 yards of net offense. They turned over the Rebels in that game 5 times, including 3 interceptions. Another outstanding performance from Jake LeBerge, the veteran quarterback for the Vancouver Island Raiders. 347 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air. And how about Eli Nelms-Horton, the Belmont grad, the Victoria boy, burning his hometown team. 3 catches, 155 yards. As for the Rebels, it was all about Khalil James. 21 carries, 134 yards, and a major, the only major for the Rebels veteran running back who is returning to football after a year off, and a great story that young man is as well. We'll have time to get into that as this day plays out. A little bit of light rain falling here as we get set for kickoff at Caledonia Park. Really, no other issues with the weather. It's a gorgeous day. In some parts of the sky. In other parts it's pretty cloudy. It depends quite where you look. There's a mixture of sunshine on the field right now. The Raiders wearing the home black with the red trim. The Rebels in the road red with the white socks. The Raiders will kick off moving right to left on your screens to start this football game. Nelms-Horton strides into it with the right boot, and we are underway. Kane Stevens will bring this one back for the Westshore Rebels, and he has a nice return up to the 50-yard line. Paul Short with me today, and Paul, a coaching change in Week 4. Charlie Cardelicchia resigns. Shane Edie takes over as head coach for Westshore. Not very often you would say a coaching change midseason can be a good thing for a team, but that's what I'm hearing about this Rebel side.
Well, I think they with all the stuff that went on earlier in the season with Charlie being suspended for some of his comments on social media and that, it upsets your team. Coach that isn't able to come to games to work you through these things, and I think now with Shane Beatty being named the head coach, he's bringing a lot of experience into the game, and he brings accountability for the players. Now they have to just say, we are here to play some football, and we're going to make sure that we come and play some football. As witnessed here.
Well, a fantastic start to the game for the Westshore Rebels, but they lose the football, and the Raiders have recovered to this football game. Unbelievably huge play to start this game. Mason Brown goes up top for Stephen Gillowitz. Pass deep into Raider territory. Looked like it might be a touchdown as you see Brown go over top for Gillowitz, who is wide open. But the Raiders, looks like Arabsky and McNally Hardesty. McNally Hardesty strips the ball from Gillowitz right on the goal line, and the Raiders recover, and they'll start at their own 40-yard line. An unbelievable start to this football game, Paul.
That should have been a touchdown, really.
Wow.
At the end of the day, you can't allow yourself to be stripped by the ball coming from behind. Very smart play by the Raiders, and they pick up the first down on the turnover, and then plus another 15-yard penalty on top of that for a horse collar tackle.
I mean, Mike West gets a short pass and a decent gain on first down here. here. That is about as eventful as an opening play from scrimmage as you are ever going to see in a football game. That was a 60-yard touchdown pass to start the game for the Rebels. It should have been. Instead, it's a fumble, and the Raiders take over after one play on offense for the visitors. A stunning start here as we remain scoreless in the first minute and a half here, and the Raiders facing second and short from. And here's the league's leading rusher, the veteran Brett Williams, with a good carry, and he moves the chains for this Raider team. And I mean, what kind of an impact does an opening play like that have on this game, Paul?
Well, from the Rebels' standpoint, it was successful until the fumble, and it was the start they're looking for. Something you just get out quick and try to get in the end zone, a big play, put the other team on their heels.
I mean, Gillowitz was wide open, and a perfect ball put on him by Brown. Everything all went wrong. Here's LeBear's 1st and 10. He throws for West, and that is complete. A flag is down as Mike West. Sure there.
That was a good pass.
There's a flag down here, though.
You see in the replay here, he threw it where the only guy can catch it is West. He just put it up high enough. And
look at the way West finishes this run. Oh, man. But they're going to
nullified play with the penalty here.
They're going to bring this one back.
Got offside on the Raiders.
And it was Mike West who was offside, so you feel maybe a little offside penalty negating a play when it was the actual receiver that made the catch. So, you know, he at least had an unfair advantage.
That's true.
1st and 15, right on the midfield stripe. LeBear's in the shotgun set, 3 wide receivers top side. He will throw. He looks up the sideline for Ablett, and it's incomplete.
Got a flag on the play. It's pass interference.
Eric Williams with a little bit of a shove there. I think that was a fair call.
Yeah, 2 flags, so definitely, there's no question on the penalty. He blocked him out and pushed him, so that's going to move the ball ahead, first down, and 15 yards for first down.
Well, flags are no stranger to the Westshore Rebels. 553 penalty yards through their first 3 games of the season, 184 per game. This football team comes in averaging, and that's by far the most in the league, and that really makes life a lot harder on your club.
It does, and that's something they really have to hurt them last year, big time, and they set a record for the most penalty yardage in the season.
Play action on first down. Mike West gets his that will stand on this opening drive for the Raiders, and it is a first down for the former Valley Husker out of Terry Fox, and that's the all Terry Fox connection there as Jake LeBear hooks up with Mike West. The Raiders are rolling with another first down inside the Rebel 30-yard line.
Yeah, this is important. You want the first team to score. Gives you a little, relaxes it obviously because of the scuffle they had 2 weeks ago with all the suspensions.
On a nice cutback, and he's got about 10, I think plenty. 10, I think plenty for the first down. Brett Williams, 22 years old, out of Weyburn, Saskatchewan, and look at the way he reads his hole here. Cuts back, and that run wasn't supposed to go there, although I guess it's maybe a zone scheme. He picks his hole.
Surprised he didn't find his way onto the Regina Thunder team.
Williams, 406 yards on 63 carries, 5 touchdowns. That is tops for a running back in every category in the BCFC so far. In the backfield as LeBear's goes down into the hands of Jameel Moore-Williams.
That was good. That was a good play. And you see on the replay here, he just defeated his guy right up the middle and got his hands on, didn't let go.
Moore-Williams with the sack.
That's one thing they didn't do 2 weeks ago.
With the sack.
That's one thing they didn't do 2 weeks ago. They didn't get to Jake.
Well, Westshore only, coming into this game, had 6 sacks in 3 games, second least of any. But protecting the quarterback has been an issue for the Raiders this season. They'll throw to the end zone. Rainey goes up, and he's got it right on the goal. Rainey. So after the big sack by the Rebels, The Raiders facing second and long, and they complete 1st and goal.
On the replay here, he got up nice and high. On the replay here, he got up nice and high on this one. Just where, again, where the ball has to be to catch it for your receiver. And
I mean, he just elevated for that right in front.
That was a nice pass, and it gets you a little bit out of trouble. With injury there on the field as well for the Rebels.
So it is 1st and goal from the 1 for the Raiders here. For the Raiders here. We're about 5 minutes into the 1st quarter here. Raiders trying to strike first.
Yeah, it was number 26 on the Rebels that was injured on that play.
That was Tyree Dunn who was involved in the play. Yes. Here's Williams on the carry, and he's in.
There we go, boys!
His league-leading 6th touchdown of the season.
Yeah, just your typical goal line play. Just going to line up, give the ball to the second guy, let the fullback kick out, big hole. Big hole, and another score.
Points off turnovers. Obviously a huge storyline in any football game, and that is 6, soon to be 7 points off of turnovers. Here, it should have been 7-0 Westshore on the first play from scrimmage. Instead, a long drive later, and it's 7-0 for the VI Raiders.
Well, that's what you have to do. You got to capitalize on other teams' mistakes, and that's what the Raiders did. The Rebels fumble the football. They get the ball knocked out, picked up on the goal line. And he returns it out. Chang returned it out about 25 yards, and then they had a 15-yard penalty.
Put him up to the 40.
And then they penalty drew him back, and then they had a couple nice passes. Williams picked up his 1st down on a nice run, and then he finishes it off on a 1-yard touchdown plunge. Exactly how you draw it up.
Yeah. The Westshore Rebels come into this game 1-1-1 on the season. They've seen in week 1 in Langley. Week 2, an 18-18 tie, a game by all accounts they should have won at home against the Okanagan Sun. Their week 3 game was canceled due to poor air quality in Kamloops. And week 4, of course, the lopsided loss at home to the Raiders. As Nelms Horton kicks this one high and deep. And it'll be brought back forward by Assad Sharif. And he will go down just outside his own 30-yard line. For the Raiders, they come into this game tied for 1st place, a 3-1 record, a week 1 loss, 33-31 to the Valley Huskers in Chilliwack. Week 2, a shutout win over Kamloops. Week 3, that incredible come from behind victory over the Langley Rams, 35-34, a game they trailed by 27 points with 10 minutes to go. And then of course last week the win over the Rebels. And
you want to improve. Week to week you want to make sure you're improving. And that's where the Raiders are going. Every week it's another step up the ladder. And Coach Hawk's got to be pretty fired up about that the boys are playing well that way.
Brown to Greenaway, and he has 1st down yardage. Hard to defend a receiver with that kind of frame.
Yes. And the Rebels have to protect Brown today. Last week he got a little bit of happy feet because the Raiders are putting a lot of pressure on him. And that's the key to any offense. You got to protect your quarterback, and the Rebels haven't been doing that at all this year, really.
1st and 10. Brown goes down. There are flags, but I think that's in the area of holding.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was holding. Yeah, it is holding against the Rebels. This is just pressure up the middle. Brown kept his feet. He should have thrown the ball there.
Pocket collapsed, and
yeah.
Doyle Westland got right on top. Paul, the Raiders 6 sacks against Westshore last weekend, or 2 weekends ago.
Yeah, that was the Raiders played very well offensively, but their defense kept the Rebels from sustaining any type of drive, and that's really important when you want to stomp on a team. You gotta stop their offense.
Hardesty jumps in front of the Brown pass, and it's a second consecutive turnover. McNally Hardesty just cutting under that route, and the Raiders take over in Rebel territory.
Yeah, they just undercut the pass, and as he makes a cut here, he slips, or it would have been a little bit bigger gain, I think, on that one.
Raiders lead the league with 8 interceptions, now 9. They forced 3 of them last weekend.
You got to take advantage of these opportunities that just presented to you.
LeBerge, incomplete. Rebels bench thinking that might have been a fumble, but it was an incomplete pass, as Desron Kerr was right there on top of Ablett. Coordinating positions as well, as now Shane Beatty takes over as head coach and offensive coordinator, and John Cardelicchia takes over as the defensive coordinator for this Rebel football team. 2nd and 10 for the Raiders. Shotgun set, play action. Plenty of time for LeBerge here over the middle, and it's incomplete, and that is a fine job in the secondary by the Rebels there. Right on the play was Ronan Silver, and it will be a punting situation.
Yeah, it was good protection for Jake as well. He had a lot of time back there to look at it, and the play just took too long to develop, and it didn't really send anybody deep on the pass patterns to spread out the defensive part. So it's incomplete pass doesn't hurt you. You get an opportunity here to pin the Rebels deep on a good punt by Hunchuk, but still a good start for the Raiders. They're jumping all over them at this point. 2 turnovers.
The league's best punter by average, and this is another gem. Pounded back to the goal line off the foot of Hunchak. Kane Stevenson. A really solid tackle on special teams there by Corey Fletcher. I think that was Corey Fletcher.
Very nice play by Fletcher. He made sure he kept Kane Stevenson on his inside shoulder and not let him outside.
Well, if Stevenson got around him, he had some room to go.
He sure did, because that's another thing that John Cardelicchia is still holding on to a special teams part of it, and he loves the wall returns. And talking about John, being the defensive coordinator isn't foreign to him. He was with the Rebels a long time, and he's had all, as a head coach.
I don't think
as a defensive coordinator
related to football is foreign to John Cardelicchia.
True.
That guy has seen it all in his career. Illustrious. 1st and 10.
New quarterback.
Ashton McKinnon is in at quarterback for the Westshore Rebels. McKinnon was the Cullen Cup winning quarterback with this Rebels team in 2016. Had a great season. Well, I mean, great at times. He did have his.
And I've always been impressed with Ashton. I watched him play high school football. My son
Former
coached
Mount
him in
Doug
little
Ram.
guys, Mount Doug Ram. Just one of those guys. He's tall. He's got a good arm. He loves to run. He loves contact. So he's not a bad spot for him.
Has played defensive line as well as you can see his stature. Here he's going to go deep. Is intercepted eventually as Arabsky juggled it, and Isaiah Johns pulled it in. His third interception of the game, the season, I should say. He leads the team, and there were 2 Raiders fighting over this ball.
Well, again, Ashton, it's his first game back, and he put a little bit too much air under this, hoping that the receiver, number 11, was going to be able to jump on top of that, Austin Lindbrow. But it's just the Raiders were opportunists again, and interception. And then good field position here. You're starting your own 40 again, and it's a short field. And these are the little things with the Rebels, with all this turmoil, if you will, if that's the term you want to use on it. It's going to take them a while to settle in to where they got to find out how, beyond, within the new systems of Coach Cardelicchia, within the new systems of Coach Beattie, and where everybody's going to fit. And so it's going to take some, little learning. And so it's going to take some, little learning curve. But they also have, I shouldn't say it's an easy coming up over the next couple of weeks, which allow them to, work in some of the new schemes that they're presently working on themselves.
North Rainey with a 12-yard grab on first down to move the sticks, and first down play here just back to the line of scrimmage for Rhett Williams. So 3 drives for the Rebels and 3 turnovers, a fumble and 2 interceptions. We've already seen Ashton McKinnon check into this game. I was talking to Rob Lervold, the president of the Rebels, before the game. He said Ashton wasn't playing football. We brought him back into the fold. We liked his skill set and what he can do. I said, do you expect him to play at quarterback? And he kind of looked at me and said, if he needs to, we'll see what happens.
Good on Rob.
It took 2 drives, and McKinnon was in there. LeBerge on 2nd and 10. He's going deep for West, and it's over his head, and he was open.
Yeah, the defensive back, number 4.
And it's incomplete.
Deshaun Kerr he slipped on the play, and Mike was able to get wide open, but just too long pass.
We are 10 minutes into the first quarter of this football game. Raiders have a 7-0 lead, but after 3 straight turnovers, the Rebels, I suppose, have to be looking at this as a bit of a positive.
Oh, absolutely. And the other, them being held down, wasn't because of penalties.
Oh, and look at this. Hunchak's going to run, and he's got the first down and then some. He'll step out of bounds at the a flag comes out late. That was after yards were gained, I believe. As I don't know if that was designed fake. I don't think it was. Hunchak just pulled that down and took off, and look at the room he has.
I'm not sure what the penalty is here.
That's how a punter would carry the ball, though, isn't it, Paul?
Oh, absolutely.
You got to tuck that ball.
Be pretty quick. I'm not sure if he's running scared, but don't tell him that.
Yeah. We'll see what the call is here.
Illegal block on the offense. After yards gained,
yeah.
10-yard penalty. First down.
After yards gained, so it is a first down. But they'll move back. Doug Hawking asking the referees who it was. So this drive will continue.
And that's another turnover. Rebels successful. So there you're looking at four times now in the game that the Raiders have capitalized on the Rebels' mistakes, if you will.
He doesn't have it.
Check. Scampers for a nice gain. Takes a little bit off for a penalty. But it is Raider ball still. They're going to go deep for Mike West, and look at him go up and get the ball and charge his way into the end zone. That is a play of a man right there. 50-yard touchdown pass, as Mike West said, "Get off me." Desron Kerr, toucher.
Again, Jake put the ball where it had to be up. It was a very nice pass, just over the shoulder, but high enough where Mike is able to get up there and get the ball. Nobody else is going to beat it. And you can see on the replay, he just gets up as high as he can, hits the ball at the highest spot, and he just became public transportation and took Desron Kerr in the end zone with him.
Mike West with a statement touchdown there, his second of the season. And it is 14-0 as Jake LeBerge gets his league-leading 11th touchdown pass of the season. He had 17 all of last year and on pace for a career season here.
He's climbing the all-time passing records in the BCFC, and I'm sure he'll get on within the top 10 after this game for sure.
That was impressive stuff from Mike West.
Well, Mike is such a strong receiver. He's a big guy. He's thick.
Former AAA high school player of the year.
And took all of last year off and came back a little bit bigger, a little heavier than he wanted to, but I think it might help him. And again, the first couple games, Mike West has you get the feel for, Raider football, if you will. So he's starting to learn it. He's getting into it.
Nelms Horton kicks it away. Kane Stevenson under it.
Oh, that was a very nice tackle by number 14. That was Niles Haney. Great tackle. Good coverage tackle.
A lot has happened in the first 10 minutes of this football game. Now, I think need to settle this thing down a bit. One thing they have not done at all is hand the ball off.
That's correct, yeah. And I'm not sure if, if it's James hurt, but he's in the backfield behind Brown. So I'm assuming that their game plan, what they saw on film, is they're trying to take advantage of some of the defensive backs.
Away from Khalil James, he had 134 yards on 21 carries, and here he is now. And boy, oh boy, he's not getting much help there, as he is met quickly in the backfield by Cox. James is a veteran running back, a former U Sport athlete from Toronto, used to play with Guelph, the Griffins. Took a year off, has a young daughter, a 2-year-old daughter named Callie. He moved his family across the country from Toronto with this Westshore team, and he certainly has the frame. A big body running back. He's listed at 6'1", 205.
Yeah, he is a big body for sure. He is a big body for sure. And it's interesting, you don't see many junior guys that have children, and that shows a whole different type of focus on
complete pass here. Anyone with a 2-year-old child knows that's hard enough to balance.
Absolutely.
Work and life and playing junior football is certainly a credit to the character that Khalil James is. Mason Brown, by the way, was back in at quarterback for this drive, and he threw incomplete to Greenaway there on second down. So it is a punt situation here.
Yeah, I think the with James, the other thing when you have a child, it takes you away from some of the team on the weekend because you have a different responsibility now, and so for him, I had hats off to him to be able to balance that type of stuff and still play junior football. I think that's tremendous.
McKinnon is punting here. Off the side of his foot, bounces out of bounds at the,
Yeah, McKinnon was a punter for the first 2 years when he played with the Rebels. He did most of the punting. But again, his first game back is going to take him a while he just came out this week, as a matter of fact, to practice, apparently, talking to Coach Beattie. So it's going to take him a couple weeks to get back into the swing of playing the game at full speed.
Everyone I spoke with around the league this week about the coaching change in Westshore said, we really do feel, and I don't think this was meant as a disparaging comment to Charlie Cardelicchia, but a respectful comment to Shane Beattie, was that I think the Rebels are immediately a better football team overall.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Here's Williams.
That's a good little run. That's a good 4-yard run. No, Shane's going to bring, like I said, he's going to make the kids accountable but he also brings that sort of what Coach Hawk brings is that
intensity.
Very, very intense, and they both understand the game quite well. And I think the kids, they need structure. They're not here just to goof around, because these guys, they're out of Toronto and out of different parts of the country. They're here to play football. And I think once you put that structure back in, you're going to see that every game now the Rebels are going to be improving, and I still feel that they're going to be a team. Nice
second down pass, great catch by Nelms Horton, and he is going to score.
Flag down.
There is a flag down though on the far side of the field, and I think this one's coming back.
No, I don't know. I think it might have been one of the Rebels that.
Today, as the Belmont secondary grad juggles it, pulls it in, then throws the spin on the Rebel defender, The flag is on the defense. The touchdown stands. It is a 58-yard touchdown pass from LeBerge. To Nelms Horton, and he continues to burn his hometown team.
It's interesting because it was a perfect pass again, and the only guy that could catch it's going to be the receiver, and just his ability to break that first tackle allows you to score, allows you to get in a position to score. Well drilled play all the way around.
21-0. 21-0. For the Vancouver Island Raiders with 2.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. And over Langley, is that?
I think Westshore gets in the playoffs over Chilliwack.
You think so?
Yeah,
really?
All respect to Chilliwack. What Bob Reese does out there is tremendous.
First place team right now, Paul.
I know, but they got the tough part of the schedule coming up.
Wow.
So and I'm not saying they can't do it. And I tremendous amount of respect for Bob and what he's been doing out in the valley there. But there's some good football teams in this league, and you got to be playing 100% to get past these guys. And the Rams are going to improve. The Rams will definitely improve. Again, you have to capitalize on what you have. The Raiders have to capitalize in the game today. If you're up 21-0, you got to keep playing like that. You got to play full speed. Teams are going to get better, and every week there's going to be some new players going to emerge, or somebody that you're looking for to carry you is going to step up and carry you.
So the fifth offensive drive of the game for the Rebels coming up here late in the first quarter. They'll start at their own 30-yard line so far. 2 picks and a punt. As this Westshore offense trying to find some traction here in this game. Mason Brown heads under center. Khalil James, the deep back, and there is a very large fullback in there. Jamensky Lubin. Look at the big man get out in front with a nice block too, but he didn't get a lot of help from the rest of his blockers, and now as he was a little frustrated with Jeremy Chang hanging on his back.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a replay on that, but something James didn't have to do.
He's drawn a flag for that. Look at the big man Lubin come out of the backfield. Makes a good block, and Chang and a host of Raiders on the tackle, and Khalil James with an obvious personal foul there.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, just as a frustration penalty, but again, it hurts you. You know, those are the things that over the past couple of years the Rebels have been hurting themselves with these silly penalties, these after the play penalties, because the whistle had already blown. So
well, Shane Beatty is. I talked to him before the game, and he said flat out, I will not tolerate anything. There will be accountability. You will answer if you do something that hurts your team.
That's the key word, team. You know, when you take a penalty or you do something silly like that, that's all about you.
Khalil James pulled off the field here. Zachary Brown will throw on 2nd and a mile, and he's in trouble, and he is going to go down in the backfield. A sack. Connor Kyliak got there, the Raiders team leader in sacks, and it will be a punt from deep in their own territory for Westshore.
Mason just holding the ball a little bit too long. You know, the receivers aren't open, or the receivers aren't looking back for the pass, and you only have so much time. That clock in your head speeds up for every step you take, and you only have about 3 seconds to throw the football. If you don't get it out of your hands, you can be in a lot of trouble. So along with the penalty and the sack, now it's, you know, you're looking at 3rd down and 40. 3rd down and 30 anyway. That's a smart play. Just give up 50.
So McKinnon takes a knee, sacrifices 2 points for the field position here. 23-0. Now the score.
Yeah, that was smart play. You don't want to give the Raiders a short field again, because you're already down 21, now down 23. But again, the Rebels are going to take some time here to figure out, where they fit, how they put it together, new offensive plays. Apparently there's a little bit of a change in the defensive scheme of things. So once they get their more practice, they're going to be a good football team. They're going to make some waves in the league, that's for sure. And I think positive waves, not the negative stuff. The negative stuff.
Rain coming down a little more steadily here at Caledonia Park, although I wouldn't say it's pouring by any stretch. The field is here in Nanaimo. Hasn't got to the point of the season where it gets pretty sloppy and a little slippery out there. The Rebels with some motion here before this kickoff. Maybe they're going to try and do something.
Well, the way the Raiders are set, they could short.
They're going to drive it away deep after the safety. This will be brought back by Andre Gordon, and he gets just over the 40-yard line. There is a flag down on the far
I think
side.
that's a legal block by the Raiders. I think somebody got hit in the back.
Passes today for Jake LeBerge. He's up to 12 on the season, the most of anyone in the BCFC. He's over 1,000 yards passing on the season for a third consecutive season in his third year in the BCFC out of Terry Fox. Stands to be one of the top quarterbacks this season, although Julian Wittink in Valley is certainly carving his name.
He certainly is.
Into that competitor in passing yards in what is a very high-functioning Valley offense right now.
Yeah,
a team that Hall says isn't going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Hall says isn't going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. We'll get into that a bit later in this game. LeBerge hands it off. Williams, big hole left side, and he's into the secondary. He's over midfield. This is a big gainer for the veteran back out of Saskatchewan.
That was a good run. That, again, just an off-tackle play.
Once he planted in this hole, look at the burst. And look at the hole there. There aren't a lot of red jerseys in that second level there. As Rhett Williams has an impressive gain, although he does come off with a bit of an upper body issue. So he will take some time at the trainer table here. The Raiders looking at a fresh set of downs inside the Rebel 45-yard line, leading by 23 points in the final seconds of the first quarter. Handoff.
That was a nice play by Eric Williams, number 7 on the Rebels, to force that play outside so help can come up and help.
Thomas Franks on the carry there for the Raiders.
This will be the last play of the first period, but this is where the Raiders, you don't want to get lackadaisical. You've got a 23-point lead in the first quarter, and you've got a chance here to, I don't want to say put a dagger in, but
go back to week 3 to see how quick a game can turn. LeBerge fumbled the snap, but now he gets away. He's got lots of room, and he's going to throw this incomplete for Rainey, but given the way that play started, that's probably not the worst ending.
That's true, and I thought for sure Jake was going to take off. Once he got up back right, I thought he had
got
the
a nice
edge there.
Block here as well.
Yeah, he got another good block. Just down when 19 got knocked down, and it was a good block. But I thought he should have run. I thought he should have run. He would have picked up close to a first down, in my opinion. But again, one of those plays, no harm, no foul. It's you turn around now. You got to punt. Now you got to punt the football.
When the play starts with the ball on the ground, you usually like it. If you end the play with still possession, that's a good thing. So we're through 15 minutes here in Nanaimo on BCFC TV, currently 23-0 for the home side, as Rhett Williams has a 1-yard touchdown plunge, a pair of touchdown passes, both of them over 50 yards from Jake LeBerge, one to Mike West, one to Eli Nelms-Horton. And the Rebel sideline left to figure things out a little bit here through the first 15 minutes. So the Rebels also yielding a safety to round out the 23 points in the first quarter.
And they're probably thinking, oh my gosh, what are we into now?
Hunchak has to pull this down, and he will be dropped in the backfield. Oh no! A late hit flag comes out here. As the play was over, Hunchak was down. Got in there with a little bit of a shot. And is this going to allow the Raiders to keep possession here? We'll see what they
Guess they
They're
can
moving the sticks up here.
Penalties declined. First down.
throw hands to the face penalty. That was against number 45, Matthew Hill. So on the pickup, declined the penalty, a 15-yard gain for Williams. Or sorry, Kyle James.
McKinnon in the shotgun on first down. Play action. He'll throw up the seam. He's got Lindo Brown, but it's picked off. McNally Hardesty, his second interception of the game. And he cut that route underneath perfectly again. As G-Van McNally Hardesty holds up the 2 to let the Rebels know he's on the ball today.
On this interception, you watch how quickly he undercuts this.
Lindo Brown was open.
Wide open, and it just a tremendous play. McNally Hardesty, yeah, he's a good football player. That's the second interception today.
Third pick of the day, fourth turnover by the Rebels. Second for McNally Hardesty. Both of them very similar too, just slicing underneath the receiver. I mean, he wants the ball more than the receivers right now, it looks like.
Yeah, but again, that's, you know, in defense of Ashton McKinnon, the quarterback, that's a timing issue here now. You know, one of those things there is an easy pass drop by Mike West that should have been a big gain. But he had, you know, you got to work on that timing, and it's going to take some, you know, a lot more practice of throwing those types of passes on.
For me, Paul, that's on the receiver for me. I think that Lindo Brown has to come back to that ball and fight for that position there.
Oh, absolutely.
It was a good pass, but you're right.
Yeah, but I think McNally Hardesty he played it beautifully, and he just undercut that with a lot of speed and is able to make the catch. And
2nd and 10. LeBears rolls and throws. Incomplete, looking for Rainey. As right on the back of Rainey was Eric Williams, who has made a couple of sharp plays.
Yeah, that had to be a perfect pass, you know, for Rainey to catch, and that I thought it was not a good decision by Jake on that one. But again, you know, no harm, no foul from the Raiders side. You know, the Rebels turned the ball over, so the Rebels have to be feeling good that they have the Raiders punting here. But for the Raiders, again, they give the Rebels a really long field if they get this punt away.
Hunchak drills it high, hanging punt. Stevens from his 10. He'll drop his head and go out just inside the 30.
And a clean play, no flags.
Just about 2.5 minutes into the second quarter here on BCFCTV.com. I do understand there have been some issues with the stream. The league is well aware of them. Production crew in the park is as well. And they are working to try and improve the stream if at all possible. So please bear with us on that. There is no internet connectivity here at Caledonia Park besides cellular phone service. So that's always a bit of a balancing act in a park without actual hardwired internet.
Absolutely, and if you've never been here, you got to transverse to get to the park over a river and through a jungle. So there's not a lot here. There's a little option play. That was a very nice play.
Cox takes a solid pop there into Kane Stevenson, who gets his first offensive, or that's Khalil, Stevenson gets his first offensive touch of the day.
Yeah, it was a little option play at McKinnon to Stevenson. And again, plays are supposed not to score on every time you touch the football, because as you put plays in, you got to make the defense aware that, you know, okay, we have this in our playbook. You have to honor that. You have to do something to stop it. And it gets the kids thinking. If you just come out running power all day, that's easy. but move things around, and the defense has to adjust.
2nd and 7. McKinnon will go down. What a sack there by Doyle Westland with one arm. He brings down the large Ashton McKinnon, his 2nd sack of the day for Westland.
Yeah, you can see he just gets a great jump coming off there. He uses his hands.
Beat his man
Beat his man very, very cleanly.
Look
and
at
gets
that
a hold of his
strength
pants
with the left
and bring him
arm.
down.
Well, McKinnon didn't get a lot of help from Khalil James there.
No, it's true. Did get a lot of help from his old lineman to start with. Yeah.
Left tackle whiffed on his block there. A clean sack for Doyle Westland.
It's the 3rd sack today, I think, on the Raiders have had in this first half.
And the Rebel offense continues to have troubles here. McKinnon, this is a nice punt, very high. Gordon at the 50. Gonna try right side. Gets over midfield.
Good efficient return. Just brings the ball back in the Rebels' territory.
Raiders' 7th offensive drive of the game. They have back-to-back punts before that, a couple of touchdown drives. This rivalry goes back to 2005, of course, when the majority of the Victoria Rebels at that time, coaching staff, the most of the roster of players breaking off, moving to Nanaimo to join the new franchise, the expansion, Vancouver Island Raiders. The Raiders the next year went on to win the Canadian Bowl title. They went on to win 3 titles between 06 and 09. The Rebels went through a lot of really tough years before they were able to get back to the upper echelons of the BCFC, finally getting their hands on the BC Championship Cullen Cup in 2016 after winning their first one in 2003. And this rivalry has seen so many different storylines and plot points. Paul pulled some of the data for me here, our BCFC historian, if you will. All-time record, Raiders, 24 wins, 3 losses, 1 tie. At home here, 11-1-1. But in Caledonia Park, the Rebels are the team that have sort of the last 2 decisions going their way, a tie and a win for them.
Yeah, it's been one of those. I was president of the league when the Raiders were granted a franchise, and a lot of the memories of the Rebel people just wouldn't be let go. They just kept thinking about it, and they still do. There's guys you talk about, and they still have this thought that, you know, we hate the Raiders and, you know, that type of thing. And so the kids playing, they don't understand.
Well, there's nobody playing
that
has any memories of 2005 and 6. I'll tell you that.
You know, because it was the point where a lot of people were accusing the league of enabling the Raiders by moving the Rebels up, but you know, it was none of that. It was a brand new franchise. It was unanimously voted into the BCFC at that time in 2004 to play in 2005, and the Rebels were a successful team. It just, the coaching staff said, we're not under contract for anybody, and we're going to go north. And but I think at the end of the day, it's been good for the BCFC. I think this rivalry, it has deteriorated sometimes, like it did a couple of weeks ago. But I think the thing that I would like to see, if my position as, you know, working with the league and the CJFL, is if we could, that both these teams could understand together the power they have on Vancouver Island to grow football. And I think if they work together, from coaching to getting new kids into the game as coaches, as players, and they could hold clinics, combined coaching camps, combined player camps, I think you could really improve the quality of play up and down Vancouver Island. And then you're also going to get in some new communities that maybe you're going to follow you. Maybe the people from Duncan will all come down to watch the Rebels play. You know, Campbell River people come down and watch the Raiders play. Just to where you bring the entire Vancouver Island together in the football family part of it, to say, let's build something positive.
Flag was down, 2nd and a mile for the Raiders. Defense was offside, so the Raiders will get a second crack at this 2nd down. Just on their side of midfield, it's about 2nd and, call it 16-ish, as the rain gets a little steadier, a little harder here. 4 minutes into the 2nd quarter, 23-0 Raiders have the lead. LeBerge in the shotgun. Balance set. He's flanked by two backs here. Blitz comes. LeBerge gets it out quickly. Up high for West, and that'll fall incomplete as there were two Rebels right in the area.
Yeah, I thought the receiver waited for the ball there, and
that wasn't Mike West, excuse me. That was Jared Braun.
Yeah, Jared Braun. I thought he waited for the ball rather than go up and get it, and defensive back was able to knock it away. But this is where the Raiders don't want to get caught now, starting to relax a little bit. They have to come out and still put the pedal to the metal and force the Rebels into making more mistakes or trying to make more mistakes. You don't want to get too lazy here and allow the Rebels to claw back into it and start to gain a little bit of confidence.
Nick Hunchak pounds it. Oh, taken on a knee by Malik Womack, and as is the rule in junior football,
a flag down as well.
If you are down even on your own volition, the play is over.
It's offside on the
Raiders were offside. Yeah, they want the Raiders to re-kick this now.
Yeah, it's a good move. They didn't get a chance to set the return up here. You're 5 yards back, and no, wait a minute. Is that he called? I think the wrong way here.
Doug Hawking is none too pleased with his punt team right now, and they have been having some issues. For a unit that has the best punter in the league, it's must be frustrating when he isn't able to perform. There's blocking issues or schematic issues.
I think they made a mistake on the penalty there. They called it on the Raiders to start with, and I think Coach Hawk would have probably declined the penalty. Now we know it was against the
So it was actually on the Rebels.
And that's what he's doing. He's saying
so it was offside on the Rebels, and now the Rebels are not very happy with the situation. And you feel sorry for the referee that has to come over to John Kardalicki and Shane Beatty and explain that situation. The
he was
Rebels
kind of reluctant there, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I don't blame him.
Okay.
Shane Beatty is he's an intense dude, man. You can feel the energy vibrating off that guy, and I went over and chatted with him before the game, and he's fidgeting around, and he's intense. Like he's ready to put a helmet on.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a Rebel alumni.
Yeah, I had the privilege of coaching him back in '88 and '89 when he played in Victoria under the banner of Victoria Payless, and he was, as an 18, 19-year-old kid, exactly the same. The only difference is that he's learned more about football, so he's able to relay all his positive influences to all these guys, and just a tremendous football coach.
Now Mason Brown goes back at quarterback. Khalil James about 5 yards on first down here. So we've seen Brown for the first two drives, then McKinnon for one drive, then Brown for two drives, McKinnon for two drives, now Brown again.
Yeah, I think
that's tough on an offense.
Oh, absolutely. It's tough on a quarterback as well. But I think at the end of the day, they have to find out who they are, who's going to be the successful guy to lead the team, and with this mixture, and McKinnon having the knowledge of being a member of the team a couple years ago for 2 years, I guess, he's going to bring his style of play, and we're going to see how it fits with everybody else. Mason brings his style of play. We'll see how it fits. The only thing is sometimes, if McKinnon is going to win out and be the starting quarterback, what do you do with Mason Brown? He's a great athlete. Will he accept the
first year in the BCFC out of Hamilton is Mason Brown, a former Acadia Axeman, played high school in Burlington. So, he didn't come out here to Vancouver Island to be a backup quarterback, I'm sure, but that is football. Now we got a timeout called.
Yeah, Rebels
by
were
the
short
Raiders.
a player.
I think the Raiders actually called the timeout based on the.
Oh, they did.
The ref indicated timeout Raiders. 9:15 remaining here in the second quarter. Raiders with a healthy lead. But as you and I saw firsthand, no lead is safe. Raiders had a 27-point deficit and 10 minutes left on the clock in their face in week number 3, right here against the Langley Rams.
Yeah.
And 10 minutes later, we were talking about a Raider win.
Yeah,
so
same in game 1 where the Raiders had in Chilliwack, where
they
the
were way up on the Huskers.
Came back in that second half. So you just the game is played by young men, and young men make mistakes, and you got to minimize those, you know, to have some success. So you never know, and you don't know what these guys are thinking. You know, where were they last night? What were they doing? Or, you know, somebody in their family not feeling good, sick, or, you know, something like that. So your mind might be elsewhere.
McKinnon, high spiraling kick. Andre Gordon gets it at the 45. He doesn't have much to look at here. That's really nice coverage by Westshore. Matthew Prusson right downfield. And that is a quality job covering a punt right there. And John Cardelicchia, man, he gets a special teams unit going.
He does. He has the same type of intensity that Shane Beatty brings to the table, and you got to be able to go full speed, or you're not going to be going at all. And you get a lot of guys that play special teams. They're not starters, so that's your chance to shine when you get on the field. And
gosh, I hated special teams. Although I wasn't exactly too fleet of foot, so they didn't put me in a lot of spots where I'd be running downfield too much. But man, I never enjoyed that part of the game myself.
That's true.
LeBerge to West, quick pass, and look at this, Mike West. 4 Rebels needed, and they still didn't put him on the ground.
That was a nice pass. There was a lot of authority in that pass.
Mike West he is an impressive young man. As I said earlier, former AAA High School Player of the Year in BC, Terry Fox Raven. Played a year with the Valley Huskers after spending a year with the Manitoba Bisons. Was a CJFL All-Star in 2016 with the Valley Huskers. Had to take a year off in order to transfer teams. The Huskers would not give him his release. But here he is, back from a year off. And now we're into week 5. He's looking a lot better. Here's a deep pass for Rainey, incomplete. Nice coverage by Williams. And Eric Williams is having himself a nice day.
Yeah, very good game. And that pass was right where it had to be, but Williams was in his hip pocket and was able to get his hand up there to knock that ball away. One guy we haven't talked too much about is number 15 on the Rebels, the linebacker, Rashawn Provo.
Yeah, Rashawn Provo is a stud, as they say, and he is leading this Westshore team in total tackles with 16. Actually tied for the league lead with 2 forced fumbles as well. And yeah, he has not been notable, at least on our. There he is, right there.
Just we speak,
right on cue, tipping that pass down and knocking it as he was dropping into coverage over the middle. So a punt upcoming for this Raider offense. Rashawn Provo out of Durham, Ontario. A lot of Ontario players represented on this Rebel roster as he's having a friendly word with the Raider sideline on his way off the field. He classic linebacker build, you know.
Yep.
Just about 6 foot, probably 220 maybe. Pretty quick, stout. It's all about leverage in the middle of that field when you're playing linebacker.
He's a strong boy.
Nick Hunchak kicks this down to the goal line. Sharif is going to dance his way and then get hauled down up
That should be a penalty.
At the 20-yard line. No flag comes out there.
Surprised at that.
That's 4 straight punts for the Raider offense, and that's something Doug Hawkins said to me as we get another look at this tackle here. You can be the judge. Let's see. Where does the hand lie?
I'm calling that every time. This is about safety too. You know, these guys, they're not here to get hurt. They're here just to play some football.
Doug Hawkins said that to me this week. You know, one thing I need to work with my offense. I want to see them having no lulls in the game, these letdowns. And that's exactly the kind of thing that allows a team to get back in the game.
Absolutely. You've got to be able to use the clock. You've got to grind out some first downs. You got to have your run game has to help you out.
Mason Brown back in at quarterback, and he's going to throw it to Deshaun Greenaway, and the big man gets his first catch of the game, and that is not a recipe for success for Westshore. They need to have Deshaun Greenaway being involved in their offense.
In my opinion, they've got to get the ball to Kane Stevenson and Greenaway. Those are the 2 guys that make big plays every time. always make big plays because they're strong guys.
Greenaway last year, 4th in the conference in receiving yards, 663 yards, 6 touchdowns last year for Westshore. A talented young man with size and speed. Here's not a great pass by Mason Brown, and that's going to fall incomplete on first down.
Yeah, I think they're trying to set up the screen to the Greenaway at the top of at the other side of the field, and the defensive back from the Raiders, number 21, I think it was 21, Isaiah Johns, just jumped on it right quick, and then Brown had to change his mind and just throw the ball to his left. But no, I think those two guys, Greenaway and Stevenson, are the playmakers, and they can make it happen right now.
2nd and 10. Brown in the shotgun, 3 wide receivers top side. He looks near side for Greenaway, and that's going to fly. And McNally Hardesty, he's feeling pretty good about himself right now. And he's letting Deshaun Greenaway know he's in his head right now.
Yeah, I think he's got him strutting around, but boy, it's, you know, you're strutting like a peacock in the barnyard, all your flowers out there, and you're feeling good about yourself and what you've done. But tomorrow you can be a feather duster.
Rather be a peacock than a chihuahua, I'll tell you that.
Well, yeah. Don't get me going about the chihuahuas.
3rd down, punt upcoming here, the 3rd straight punt for this Rebel team, still looking for their first points of the day. McKinnon to kick, Brown deep, Gordon, deep to return. A high kick. McKinnon has the height.
And
just
he
needs to get a
also
little
has
more of
the understanding to grab that ball.
Oh, look at him charging downfield, and this ball is loose, and that was touched, and the Raiders have it.
Yeah.
Smart play by Ashton McKinnon to try and recover that kick.
He's a very intelligent football player, and because it was off
charging
the
downfield
side
here
of his foot, he's just going to go get it himself. And
a no yards flag should be picked up because McKinnon is allowed to recover that.
yeah, I'm sure it'll be picked up, and Raiders are lucky to have that ball.
But does he still have to give the yardage even if he's trying to recover? No, he doesn't.
No,
Okay.
he can go right in there and jump on it. And it's funny because sometimes a return guy, they're calling.
Huh.
Oh, okay, because the ball did hit the ground, but I guess somebody else must have been in the 5-yard zone. But a lot of times the return guy will see somebody coming in fast and sort of hesitate, thinking there's going to be a penalty anyway, so I don't have to be in a hurry to get the ball. And
Right. So since Jake LeBerge hit a 58-yard touchdown pass to Eli Nelms Horton with 2.5 minutes to go in the first quarter, it has been 4 straight punts for this Raider offense. So despite a 4-score lead, they need some consistency, and instead they've thrown an interception as this one's picked off by Malik Womack, and he's going to bring it back to the 45-yard line. So Jake LeBerge throws his 4th interception of the season. That is just the 2nd interception of the season for the Rebel defense, but wow. Womack, that was easy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I thought it was, again, a decision I think Jake would like to take back. He didn't put any authority on the ball, and he threw it into double coverage to begin with.
Yeah.
And the play, he didn't have a lot of time. The play was set up on a play-action pass with the running back on the fake, and the Rebels' defense was in his face pretty quick. So here's this year Rebels here. They might get an opportunity to say, hey, let's do something positive out of this. Let's move the football. They got Brown in a quarterback.
So that's the first turnover of the day by Westshore. Brown's got a man open. Lindo Brow. Oh, he got rocked. Arabsky coming downhill. And Lindo Brow is up to his feet and not happy. Really upset there. He got popped. And Paul, I mean, from what I watch of pro football, that's a penalty in the NFL all day.
Absolutely, and that's
a defenseless receiver, a shot to his head. I think that's a penalty.
Yeah, I agree, and that's one of the things that the CJFL has instituted this year is the targeting rule. And this here, it's a hat-to-hat hit.
That's a penalty all day.
That's a penalty, and
he targeted the head, and he's defenseless, and the ball is also not there. Oh, there's the call. Oh, roughing the passer.
But that should have been a targeting penalty, and the targeting penalty is a 25-yard penalty. The player isn't ejected, but it's looked at again by committee in the BCFC. We've only had to do it once this year, and then again, it's a safety issue. We got to make sure that we're protecting these guys.
Well, everything we know about concussions and
absolutely
head trauma and brain injuries now, you just don't want to see that in the game. Brown tucks it and runs. He's got a first down as he slides inside the Raider 40.
Smart play by Mason on that one. Nobody open.
He
uses
is
legs.
Very adept at running. He's actually 7th in the conference with 152 yards rushing.
Well, he was the Rebels' leading rusher until James had his big game last time against the Raiders.
Second leading rusher coming into this game for the Westshore Rebels. Love to have that mobile quarterback.
Oh yeah, anytime you can, if you've got an arm and legs, man,
the Rebels have had 3 years in a row now with McKinnon, then last year with Scott Borden, and now with Mason Brown, mobile quarterbacks.
And they've had some pretty good running backs too. You talk about
Jamel
Lyles and Trey Campbell.
Nope. Well, there's a broken play as Brown went one way and James went the other. Now it's a scramble, and he's got a man, and it's Kane Stevenson, and that's a first down inside the Raider 30-yard line. So a completely broken play. And you'll see that. I mean, they're working in a brand new offensive playbook with Shane Beatty here, but they made it work.
Yep, and that's what feet will do for you. He just keeps his feet moving here, and he's agile enough. He can get his head around, look downfield, find the open guys.
You know, there's something to be said. If the offense doesn't know what they're trying to do, it's kind of hard to defend, isn't it? Say, well, if they don't know where they're going, I don't know where I'm going. It's 1st and 10 on the 25. Best offensive drive of the day for the Westshore Rebels, trying to get their first points. They'll pitch it off here to James, and he's got a pretty good gain. Call it 5 on first down. So the Rebels,
a strong running back,
looking the best they have all day on offense, as this drive started at their own 45-yard line after a Jake LeBear's interception.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of that turnover. Helped with the penalty.
2nd down, 5 at the Raider 20. 3 minutes to go here, as this will be the last play before the 3-minute warning. Caledonia Park.
No, at the very least, they've got to come away with some points on this drive.
3 a must, 7 preferable. 2nd down pass over the middle. Oh, dropped. Goodness me, Steve Gilowitz was wide open, and he had a first down, if not more. And the ball hits the carpet, and John Cardelicchia says, let's kick a field goal.
Yeah, I think Gilowitz thought for sure I'm scoring here because that was a perfect pass. Yeah, you could see he's just turned his head a little bit.
Did he feel Arabsky coming downhill on him?
That could be.
Arabsky, certainly not a guy you like to have coming in downhill on you.
Yeah, because he did turn his head. So, once you turn your head, you take your eyes off the ball. Unless you've got gigantic hands, it's going to be tough to squeeze it.
The footsteps, as it were.
Yeah, that's true.
So it'll be a field goal attempt as the Rebels try to get their first points of the day. Kyle Clark will come on here. He is 1 for 3 this season. This is a 27-yard attempt.
And from a Rebel standpoint, you got to also cover on this. If it's wide or...
Good snap, good hold. Kick is long enough, and it's through. So the Rebels are on the board for the first time today. 2.5 minutes to go in the first half, 23-3.
I think there's some question if that actually was a field goal. The return man from the Raiders is kind of saying, whoa, wait a minute here. I'm standing there. I didn't see a goal.
First points of this second half. Last points we had were a minute to go in the first quarter when the Rebels took a safety.
Yeah, and that's where you settle in and, you get in your comfort zone. You're not working really hard. There's no urgency to a lot of things. You're not protecting a lead, or you just kind of settle in. Hey, look what we can do when we want to do.
This is an important 2.5 minutes here.
Absolutely.
Because the Rebels could flip this game on its head if they can get into the halftime locker room with a stop and more points here.
Yep. Oh, any time the last 3 minutes of in Canadian football of the half and the game are the most important parts of the game, in my opinion.
The last time the Raiders were at home against Langley, they did not handle the last 3 minutes of the first half very well.
That's correct.
Put themselves in an even worse hole than they needed to be, although eventually that game worked out okay. Well, it's not been a good series here for Gillowitz. Now he's late to get on the field here for the kickoff as well after he dropped that pass.
Well, both teams have their timeouts. Oh, no, sorry, Raiders
took one.
Took one.
Kyle Clark with a nice deep kick here. Andre Gorgon will bring it back. He's got some room on that top side of the field. He'll pick his way over there. Gets the edge, and the ball came out, but it flies out of bounds.
Went out of bounds, yes. It wasn't a bad return. I thought a lot more motion than needed to be on the returner's side there.
Right, just put your head down and get to that corner.
Yeah.
Although, Paul, I think you and I combined have probably returned, 0 kicks in our lives?
I used to return kicks. I was a kick returner. I was. Hey, they used to call me Flash.
No, they didn't. Come on.
No, I used to. I did. I returned kicks.
Really?
I used to play quarterback.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah. That was on my grade 6 flag team, I think. No. No, I played juvenile football back in the day.
Is there video footage of this to prove it?
Oh, geez. It was either painting or by chipping stone.
Cave drawings, maybe?
There might be some of the
Here's Rhett Williams. What a carry. First down, he rips off 25 yards.
That's a good run because that clock's in your favor here. You got the football, 2:10 to go, and the goal is to go in with points and be up. Try to be up by this score, 30-3 at halftime if you can.
Really love the way Rhett Williams runs the ball. No messing around.
Yeah, he just
gets upfield, downhill.
You know, there's guys that are running backs, and there's guys that aren't. And you can really, just by looking at you can tell who the running backs are.
Here he goes again. It's hit hard, but he gets 5 as Provo came in to finish him off there with authority. Rayshon Provo with a solid hit. Minute 51 on the clock, and I believe the Rebels have taken a timeout here. Oh, the Raiders have, excuse me. So the Raiders have expended their first half timeouts here. You are watching BCFCTV.com. Dominic Abassi, Paul Short by my side. Thanks so much for being with us here. We do understand that some of the technical streaming issues, from what I'm told, have been cleaned up a little bit here. So very glad to hear that. I hope that you're enjoying it. As I said, I mean, it's a tough spot here in Nanaimo. And it's funny, the BCFC Twitter feed said, hey, send an email, send a call to the city of Nanaimo. And I implore you to do that. City of Nanaimo has really largely ignored putting any infrastructure spending into this stadium here, despite the fact you have a 3-time national championship winning football team that has hosted 2 national championships here at this field. The facilities, let's be honest, Paul, in the scheme of the CJFL are inadequate here, and that is not the Raiders' fault.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's funny, in my position with the Canadian Junior Football League, when we talk about Nanaimo, you have to be concerned about Caledonia Park.
Free play, trying to go deep.
Oh, beautiful catch.
Goodness, what a catch! Highlight reel material from North Rainey on a free play because the Rebels were offside, and the Nanaimo product puts on a show.
Just, again, a pass that just lay it in, and Mike just stretches for that one-arm catch. That's a highlight reel. That'll be on the CJFL Plays of the Week for sure.
North Rainey. That is a piece of receiving work right there. Full extension.
Tremendous catch.
Fingertips. And the Nanaimo product out of John Barsby. A college baseball player.
Oh, really?
So you know he's got the hands. That was gorgeous. And he sets up his team with a first down at the 20-yard line. A minute 42 on the clock here, left to go in the half. LeBerge will throw. Rainey's in the slot. And LeBerge is going down. Hit hard in the backfield. As coming off the edge on the blind side was Jason Piper. And I believe that's a halfback blitz off the top of the screen. Watch 33 come here.
Yeah, they
nobody
double
picked
team
him
with
up.
the tackle.
Rhett
That should
Williams
have Rhett
missed
Williams,
his block.
man.
Yeah.
That was nice. Piper just kept coming. He didn't slow down at all. He just turned the corner and he was
Rhett Williams is not going to enjoy that play when the film gets fired up on Monday night. I'll tell you that.
That's true. That's the saving grace. That's one of the best teachers in the world when you're playing football is looking at film and
when
the
you're
coach
a player,
talking to you.
You know when the play's coming. And you start to try and shrink into your chair a little bit. Maybe you go to the bathroom at that moment, you know.
Hawk would not let anybody go to the bathroom.
He would pause it. He would pause it.
That's right, Jess. And they'd roll in a bigger screen.
Minute 31 to go here. Timeout, I believe, Westshore. The Raiders have already called 2 timeouts.
On the board, they say the Rebels have 1 left. I guess the rain stopped because I see people taking their protection off the Chihuahuas out there.
Yeah, it is not really. If it is, it's just a sporadic drop here and there. Much needed rain in Nanaimo, just like the rest of this parched province right now.
Oh yeah, and the worst thing is you don't want to have a wet Chihuahua because it looks like a cat then. It's
very unattractive.
There's an opportunity here for the Raiders to score in position.
Oh boy, LeBerge is in trouble here, but he gets away. He's trying to find a man, and he throws it. There is a flag down. Williams has it back to the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be a hold.
I'm not exactly sure what that was.
Yeah, just again, nobody's open, and Rebels bring a little bit of heat.
That looked like kind of like youth soccer, where everyone just chases the ball around here.
That's true. Yeah, they did bring a blitz. Yeah,
look at the red jersey.
Everybody's running around. Yeah, so there's bound to be a hold somewhere. It's funny, sometimes on plays like that, it's not holding, it's called, it's a legal man downfield.
Yeah, I mean, that's the definition of a broken play there. If they're going to make them.
I think I'm moving it back. I don't want any more points scored on us. That'll put them in second and about 20 or 30.
Well, yeah, it's second down. The first down marker is at the Rebel 10. And the Raiders are about to scrimmage at the Rebel 43. So they might as well just really take a shot at the end zone here, or take a real safe play. Or maybe you go somewhere in the middle and try and get field goal range. Now they're going to back this up to the 50.
No, I think it's supposed to go to...
There's some confusion here. Oh, now they're going to get it right.
Well, you got to come away, try to come away with some points on this. So yeah, I think you're going throw an intermediate pass, pick up 20 yards, kick field goal, and then hope your defense holds the Rebels off the board in the last minute and 20 seconds.
I think they've got things sorted out here. So it's 2nd and 30 from the Rebel 40. LeBerge cocks and unloads. Double coverage, picked off. Malik Womack with his second interception of this quarter. And we'll see where they spot this ball. And that
looks like about the 1.
I mean, that's as good as a punt, really.
That's true, except you had an opportunity here for some points. I just thought the play selection didn't work at this time, but again, I'm not coaching down there. I'm not seeing what's seen, but they yelled. But on the replay, they showed the replay, but they also threw into double coverage. They had Kane Stevenson playing one of the safeties, and he got over there pretty quick.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you figured the defense is going to be playing soft. Do you think maybe you can slip one in underneath and get into field goal range there? Would be my thinking, but.
Well, I'm a little concerned. If I'm Coach Hawk, I'm a little concerned that the offense is stalled here in the whole second quarter and turned the ball over twice, 3 times, I guess, when they had that fake punt that didn't work. But those are things that you talk about at halftime and you try to rectify them. But it's just getting the kids, refocusing the kids and taking advantage of the mistakes that Rebels are going to give you. And Rebels, same thing. The last drive they came away with a field goal. So
Rebels need to be careful here. They're on their 1 yard line. And they're going to get flagged for delay of game, although I don't know how much farther back you could push them.
Yeah, it just lost it down.
Is it a loss of down? Yeah, okay. So
it's usually a 10-yard penalty and lost it down in the last 3 minutes.
63 seconds to go in this quarter and a half. As you see the laundry on the field. Loss of down, so now second down. Second down and 10 from the 1.
And that's huge, you know, because what it does now, the clock wasn't going, so there's still a minute 13 to go.
Well, usually when you're on your own 1, you run that little dive play, just get a bit of breathing room. Well, you can't really do that now on second down. And Mason Brown's going to throw out of his own end zone over the middle.
Oh, nice try.
Stevenson tried to go down for it. Shane Beatty frustrated on the sideline as he waves his hat in his play calling sheet.
Yeah, I think they're going to
probably going to have to give up 2 points here.
Yeah, I think I definitely would give up 2 points.
Shane Beatty is very upset with that.
That's okay. The Rebels got to feel, you know, pretty good. Again, they're coming into this game like a new team, if you will.
Well, considering the way it started, the halftime score will not be in any way a catastrophe for the Rebels here at all.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would think you're going to see McKinnon.
Yeah, I just heard it. I just heard it on the Rebels sideline. Someone said, "Get your head up. They haven't scored all quarter," and it's a great way to look at it. The Rebels have won this quarter so far. So McKinnon's going to go down. Second safety yielded of the game. It'll make it 25-3.
But now the Raiders are going to get the ball back with a minute 8 to go. They don't have any timeouts left, but the quarterback's arm is your timeout when you're throwing, you know, passes outside.
The Raiders, after they went up 23-0 with a minute 15 left in the first quarter, have gone punt, 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 interception, interception.
Yeah, it's again. Coach Hawk's probably, you know, going, "What the heck, guys? Come on, let's go."
Having a word with his offensive unit here.
Yeah, I think, you know, if what you do in this last minute could dictate how often and how loud it is in the change room by the coaches yelling at you.
Sure.
So they could do it. They need a good return here. Rebels have to do a decent kick and cover. You can't let a big return.
The rest of the action this weekend in the BCFC going tonight. Chilliwack in Kamloops, 6 o'clock at Hillside Stadium, and then Langley in the Apple Bowl in Kelowna, 7 o'clock start. Finally, the home opener for the Okanagan Sun after they spent the first almost half of the season on the road.
Yeah, so hopefully there's a big crowd there tonight to welcome the team home.
I think there will be.
It should be a good game. You know, it was a good game last week or 2 weeks ago when they met. And the Sun coming back to win it.
Good coverage by the Rebels, so that worked out about as well as they could hope after starting on their 1 yard line.
Still a minute to go.
I don't think it's hockey season quite yet in Kelowna. So when it's not Rocket season in Kelowna, the Saturday nights at the Apple Bowl, they really draw incredibly well there. Once hockey season starts, they switch to Sunday afternoons typically, which makes sense. You don't really want to butt heads for fans with the prolific franchise like the Kelowna Rockets.
That's true. But again, they deserve a lot of respect. It's a good organization up there, and been there a long time.
That's an intriguing game to me as Williams get the handoff on a draw here. And there's Rayshon Provo coming in, making his presence felt with a solid finish. That game really intrigues me because there you have two teams with so much to prove. I think the Sun, really the expectations coming into the season were they were going to be a championship contending team. And then you have Coach Snoop coming back. I know the Rams are in a rebuild, but he brings with himself expectations of victory and of being in the mix at the end of the season. And LeBert just going to get sacked here deep in his backfield on second down. Nice pressure by Jameel Moore-Williams. That's his second sack of the day.
Yeah, again, it's just
47 seconds left on the clock here, and the Rebels have a chance to maybe try and get some late points here.
Yeah, just a little bit late delay on a game up front on a twist, but
So as I'm saying, that Langley Okanagan game, you got the Sun coming in at 2-1-1. You got Langley at 1-3. It's just a massively intriguing game. Who's going to step up and prove that they, are what the hype says they are? And really, really intrigued. I don't know. I think I like the Sun being the home team. Okanagan did just beat Langley, of course, before the bye week. But they don't seem to really have a quarterback up there in Okanagan with Matthew Mahler being injured right now. And how healthy is he? Keith Zyla played 2 weeks ago, and he was on the defensive side of the ball to start the season. So,
well, I'm not sure.
Great kick by Nick Hunchak here.
Jacob Lokes, not sure how his injury is, but he was pegged as the starter from the right of the beginning. He got injured when they played the Rebels, but that's what they're lacking over these games. They have a very good football team, but they just lack that leadership under the center.
Their defense is unquestionably strong.
Very strong.
10 turnovers they forced by the Langley Rams in week 4, 5 interceptions. The Rams put the ball on the carpet 6 times in that game. Okanagan leading the league by far and away in sacks as they pressure the quarterback like no other team right now.
Yeah, they got that Daly kid that's just
8 sacks, I believe, in 4 weeks.
I think it is, yes.
Very impressive. First down, McKinnon in.
That was a nice little catch.
Diving, leaping by Isaiah Cardelicchia, the
grandson of John.
Son of former Rebel head coach Charlie Cardelicchia. That was a nice diving grab there.
Yeah, again, there's 33 seconds left. Get an opportunity here to get into field goal range.
McKinnon will scramble. First down. Still going to the 35 with 22 seconds to go. So after 3 straight Mason Brown drives, they now go with an Ashton McKinnon drive.
Yeah, that was a good play by Ashton. Just keep, again, working the feet. He's good at it.
No huddle offense here. Hurry up.
And there is no, I don't believe there's that I recall, a rule that you can just ground the ball here.
Clock ticking, and they...
No, he threw it at the feet of a lineman, so he should be okay. But you just can't spike it.
The Raiders are arguing that's grounding.
Yeah. And there is, like, everybody thinks American football, but there is a flag there for that.
Yeah, there's the flag.
So what it's going to do is it'll leave the ball there, but it just turns it to second down.
Loss of down.
So it's not a yardage penalty.
17 seconds on the clock.
So they got one play and then be a long field goal try. I'm not sure Kyle Clark, if it ends up here, it's at that leg.
I think you're better off to take a shot at the end zone. Just lob it up.
He's got his top receivers all to the right.
He's going to look here, deep. Kane Stevenson. Incomplete. Boy, that was a jump ball contested. Arabsky was right there. Andre Gordon as well. And Kane Stevenson, valiant effort, but he couldn't pull it down.
Yeah, he got up high for it, but they jostled for the ball, and as they're coming down to the ground, nobody could get their hands on it.
So the Rebels on third down will leave the offense on the field. 10 seconds to go, 11 seconds to go in the first half. This has been a long first half, too. It's pretty slow as far as clock time. This is an hour and a half for a first half of football. That is very slow. Usually you're looking at about an hour per quarter, or per half, excuse me.
You can still get a first down here and try a field goal, but not getting sacked or not.
It's going down. Raiders get home. Brody Taylor.
So it turns
Kyliak in the backfield. 6 seconds left.
I think you're going to see the Raiders just kneel down here. Yeah, just ran out of time. McKinnon.
Turnover on downs, so the 5th turnover of the first half by Westshore, matching the times they turned the ball over last week. at home, or 2 weekends ago, I should say.
And that's where you see the difference in the score as well. You know, the unfortunate fumble on their side, the first play of the game.
Oh, what a play that is.
It's huge.
Yeah.
When they look back in this game, the what ifs. But that's what football's made up about, is, you know, woulda, coulda, shouldas, and what ifs.
So the first half in the books, 25-3. The Vancouver Island Raiders are with the lead. The first half scoring summary. The game started. The first play from scrimmage, a 65-yard, what should have been touchdown pass from Mason Brown to Steve Gilowich. He gets to the 1 yard line and is stripped from behind, fumbles the ball. The Raiders recover. They promptly drive their way down the field and get themselves a touchdown, a 1 yard touchdown won by Rhett Williams. Raiders extend the lead to 14-0 at the 5-minute mark of the first quarter, as they get a 50-yard touchdown pass to Mike West, a 58-yard touchdown pass to Eli Nelms. Horton makes it 21-0. A safety yielded by the Rebels sees the score go to 23-0. And then no scoring for quite a while until the Rebels put up a field goal with 2.5 minutes to go in the second quarter, 23-3. The Raiders with the lead at that point, and then a safety given up by the Rebels makes it 25-3 at the half, as Paul Short is heading his way down to field level, and I think Paul Short has grabbed Doug Hawking, head coach of the Vancouver Island Raiders, and we'll get the Raiders head coach's thoughts on his team's play in the first half.
With me is head coach of the Vancouver Island Raiders, Doug Hawking. And coach, you got to be happy with the first quarter, but second quarter, not so good.
Yeah, well, you know, it's defensively, I think we're playing outstanding football right now. There's some things we're going to adjust to, and that we can, that they haven't seen here in the second half. I think offensively we put up a lot of points, and we're moving the ball. We just need to finish some drives, and we'll address that in the second half and here in the locker room here. So I'm not disappointed, but we can work better.
Perfect. What about the quarterback situation? It seemed like Jake was struggling there in the second quarter with his passes.
Well, I think we need to go back and just simplify things for Jake right now. Jake, he's got an outstanding arm, and when you give a quarterback an RPO, and he's a guy that likes to score points and put him on the board fast, right? So we got to get back into his reads and get him to move the ball and understand it's not a bad thing to get first downs. We don't need points on one play every time. So first downs will help us. It'll control the clock, and it'll move the sticks.
Perfect. I appreciate that.
No problem. Anytime.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
We're going to do wildfire.
Coast Capital's role is we're the tour sponsor of the Canadian Cancer Society's Cops for Cancer Tour. It's a cause that's really important to a lot of our staff. I mean, who hasn't been touched by cancer?
I've had a lot of family members affected by cancer. Knowing that all that I watched my family members go through when they fought this disease, you would never ever want a child to have to face that.
This is an opportunity that we can work towards a cause to make the lives of kids who are suffering from cancer just a little bit better, even for a short period of time, by sending them to camp.
Camp Good Times is one of the most amazing parts of being a Cops for Cancer rider.
Every single year, the tour actually gets the opportunity to go to camp, and it is a magical place.
I would just say, after you spend time at Camp Good Times, two things change forever. Your definition of what is courage is never the same, and your definition of I've had a bad day is never ever the same. And every time you're climbing a tough hill, you know this is really nothing compared to what the children and their families go through.
And that's what helps me. I just think of the battle they have to battle, and it's really not comparable.
Coast Capital's promise is to build a richer future for youth. That's why this particular campaign is such a good fit for us.
Having Coast Capital involved is so helpful, and just having a good, consistent, strong sponsor allows you to be a much bigger help for families.
Our staff do an amazing job of spearheading some excellent fundraising campaigns, and they're just extremely passionate about this cause. These kids are going through so much, and what a better opportunity to sort of help them through that journey that they're going on and build a better future for them.
Back inside a rainy Caledonia Park here in Nanaimo, the Vancouver Island Raiders and the Westshore Rebels, Week 5 in the BCFC, bcfctv.com. Dominic Abbasi, Paul Short by my side. Paul, a great first quarter by the Raiders, but it was the Rebels who I think on the scoreboard, not by much, but they won that second quarter. What are your thoughts on how these two teams come out of the locker room here?
Well, I think you get to pat the Raiders on the back for the first quarter. They did what you got to do. You got to come out quick, and you want to try to bury the team that you're playing in your home park. But I think the Rebels have to take that second quarter and go in and talk about how the good things we did about it. We kept the Raiders off the scoreboard, other than the safety, which was self-inflicted. But they did get the field goal. They did move the football. Both quarterbacks, Mason Brown and McKinnon, were able to run the ball a little bit. Their passes were okay. They were doing things. On the Raiders side, their offense, I thought, in the second quarter just kind of stalled a little bit. They lost their mojo, if you will. They couldn't really move the ball with some authority. And the second half, I think this first opening drive for the Raiders is going to dictate how this game is going to end. And I don't know if the Rebels have the firepower to come back to win this football game at this point, but the Raiders have to make the statement on this first opening drive, in my opinion.
Rebels kicked the ball away. Westshore in the red jerseys, the Raiders in the black with the red trim. Westshore moving left to right, Raiders right to left on your screens here in this third quarter of play. Some first half stats to pass along your way for the Raider offense. Jake LeBerge, 10 for 21, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And I didn't break it down by quarter, but I'm almost guarantee you, I know for sure those 2 interceptions came in the second quarter. Yep. Most of those incompletions did as well.
Absolutely. And I think that, I don't know if Jake was having problems with his arm or what it is, or just, again, you relax a little bit and you're not putting that same urgency into what you have to take care of. But yeah, his second quarter definitely was no resemblance of what happened in the first quarter.
Rhett Williams had himself a great half. 9 carries, 98 yards, 1 touchdown for him. Mike West, the leading receiver, 4 catches, 83 yards, and a touchdown. North Rainey, 3 grabs for 63 yards. The Raiders had 12 first downs as a team on the way to generating 21 points on offense. They also got 4 points by way of a pair of safeties that the Rebels yielded, as this is a play-action dump pass on second down that moves the chains with a very healthy gain.
That was pretty quick on LeBurge's part. Piper was coming after him pretty quick there, and he just dumped that ball off for the first down. And again, you have to have that opening drive, have some success. You don't want to come out 2 and out and have to punt. Move the ball a little bit. If you have to punt from here, now you're creating a longer field for the Rebels. But you want to score some points. That's the goal in this game is to outscore your opponent.
The Raiders scored 3 touchdowns as Williams gets a first down carry here. Short game. The Raiders scored 3 touchdowns on their first 4 drives of the game, as they scored on the first, third, and fourth drives of the game. From there on out, they had 5 punts actually, 2 interceptions, and then they took knees going into the half. So certainly this offense needing to wake up from its slumber a little bit here. Defensively, the Rebels forcing 2 interceptions, both of them by Malik Womack, 1 turnover on down, and they were able to get to Jake LeBerge 3 times in the backfield, 3 sacks, including a pair from Jameel Moore-Williams. LeBerge will throw on 2nd and 9, and this is incomplete, but it's going to be a free first down because the Rebels are going to be penalized for roughing the passer here, is my
Yeah, that was completely unnecessary. It's one of those things. I thought it was going to be called holding at first, but when he made the contact with the quarterback at the end.
I think it was Benjamin Pierrick.
Yeah, number 40, yes.
The Mount Doug product.
And those are things that, the Rebels of the past and this year have taken those penalties at the wrong time.
Well, I said this stat off the hop, Paul. The Rebels, the most penalty yards of any team in the league, 553 through the first 3 games, 183 yards of penalties per game for their first 3 games, and that will just kill you.
It does every time.
First down up to the 40 after the penalty. All-out blitz here. Flags are down. LeBerge gets out of the pocket. Mike West cannot hang on. As really nice coverage there by Desron Kerr. The Rebels brought the heat there, and I think they're going to back up. Yeah, they're going to get a holding call against the offense here. Look at the blitz
just
come there.
Big blitz, and then Jake had to. The pass was supposed to be from the pocket. He stepped outside it, and again, you limit what you can do when you shorten the field running to it. So we got an offside against the Rebels and a holding against the Raiders, so it'll be moved back 5 yards and be first down over again. But yeah, so you got to sort of believe in your coaches. Your coaches call a play, they send it in, and if you start to change that in your mind when the play is snapped because the first read isn't there or the first the hole isn't there, then you start to change things, and your blocking patterns aren't there to help. And the defense, they're doing their own thing as well, but they're also spying guys, so they're going to have people in your face right away.
First down, 15. High, deep. Nelms Horton. Oh, baby! What a grab! Catch. The rookie elevates.
That was a good matchup.
A former track star in high school. We saw the speed earlier down the sidelines on a touchdown grab. This time we see the vertical leap as he just out-jumps the defender in double coverage, no less.
Yeah, that was a good play. He got up over top of number 5, Womack, and it's a mismatch from a height disadvantage on Womack's side, but great play by
Nelms Horton is just incredibly impressive. As Williams is going to go down in the backfield here, penetration by Leo Ingram. Nelms Horton, rookie out of Belmont, 8 catches, 289 yards, 3 touchdowns, now 4 touchdowns, and well over 300 yards of receiving on the season for him. Coming into the game was averaging 36 yards per catch.
Well, he had 2 big ones 2 weeks ago, and in Westshore.
He did. He burned the Rebels. He had only 3 catches, but 155 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a long of 87. Burning his hometown team. Williams on 2nd and 10, shedding tacklers. What a tough run. I think he's got the first down. There was no way he was going to get a first down when that play started.
We got a injury down on the field. That looks like it might be.
That doesn't look great. Is that Provo?
Yeah, that might be Provo.
Ooh, that would be
Sean, that would be a huge
very
loss.
Big hit. The Rebels' leading tackler. Yeah, that is Rayshon Provo, and he appears to be in some pain right now.
Looks like he's grabbed his knee. It looks like it could be his right knee that he's holding there. It's a shame.
Impressive young linebacker. We'll have to.
Yeah, he's definitely in some pain because he hasn't moved at all.
This opening drive of the second half has so far taken almost 5 minutes off the clock. Started at the Raider 35-yard line. They're now facing 1st and goal here. But there will be a delay as they tend to Rayshon Provo down on the field here. Some first half stats for the Rebels to pass along. They only rushed the ball 8 times in the first half. And as you pointed out to me, several of those were on quarterback scrambles. They count as a rush. Their leading rusher, oh, this is really great. Look at this here. Love to see this as Rayshon Provo is able to get off the field under his own power. That is great news. So you hope maybe he was only winded, maybe?
Yeah, it could be. Or a stinger, maybe a shoulder stinger or something, but definitely not a knee or an ankle.
The way he was down, it certainly looked like it could have been much more serious, so really great news. The second leading rusher in the conference and the leading rusher for the Rebels, Khalil James, had 4 carries for 17 yards in the first half of play. So a 1st and goal here as the Raiders try to cash in on the first drive of the second half. LeBerge, Williams, touchdown, too easy. 2nd of the game, 7th of the season, as Rhett Williams, the premier running back in the BCFC right now in all statistical categories, puts his team even further ahead.
Just following the fullback, and nobody made contact with him as it came through the hole. So it was well-designed play and ended up like you drew it up. So it was important on the Raiders side to make sure that they scored to open this second half. That pushes the score to 32-3.
A 5-minute drive to open the half. They go from their own 35-yard line 75 yards down the field. Exactly what they needed after really sputtering out through the entire second quarter.
Absolutely, and I think that a lot of that came from the talk they had at halftime, the adjustment the coaches made. At the end of the day, the Raiders know they're a good football team, and they know that they can defeat the Rebels. They did it last week. They're leading today. You just have to focus, get your head into the game, and say, okay, we've got to continue to do what we do best, and just sort of like they say, you metal your pedals to the metal, or you put your foot on the guy's throat, or however you want to have the analogy for it.
I think the foot on the neck was the exact term that Doug Hawking used in our weekly interview. He said we have to learn how to really finish things when we get in that scenario.
And Dougie's going to bring that type of intensity to the team. Because guys, when you play professional football, or you have an opportunity to be around some a high level of football, you understand that the game is about full speed. It's about 100% all the time, never giving up, and it's whistle to whistle. And that's what Coach Beatty's going to bring. He's got an extensive background being around college football in the United States, and he was head coach at some junior college. So he's going to bring an intensity back to the Rebels that's going to work in a positive way and not in a negative way.
Rebels' first drive of the second half, and they will go with Mason Brown under center. Brown in the first half, 5 of 12, 59 yards, 1 interception. And he will run an option play and pull it down himself and gain 7, maybe 9 yards there.
Yeah, pretty close to a first down. Yeah, about 8 yards.
The Rebels switching back and forth numerous times between Brown and McKinnon at the pivot spot in the first half. Brown gets the first series here, and I don't really get the feeling that it's even maybe performance-based at this point. I think the Rebels are just kind of experimenting with both quarterbacks, and they're kind of running a platoon offense here.
I agree with you. I think they're trying to find out who's going to be their leader from here on out.
Second and short. Hand off Khalil James, and he is not going to get the first down.
Yeah, he said he's had not many carries today, but the 4 or 5 that he has had have been very, very tough. He had one run, I think it was around 15 yards, and all the rest have been a yard or less.
James in the first half, 4 carries, 17 yards. He had one, like you said, 1 first down run, and the rest have been very tough sledding. And now the Rebels look like they're going to hustle to the line, and they're going to go for it. Then they stepped away from the ball. Now they're going to set up on the ball, so they're going to go third and short inside their own half of the field here early in the third quarter. And they do not have it. I don't think they do.
I don't think they got it either.
Looks like Brown slipped as he tried to drive into that offensive line. It's going to be obviously all in the spot. I would expect to see the sticks come out here.
Oh, where they put the
but
ball,
from my
I
eye test, he didn't get it.
They're going to measure, but even from the angle I'm standing at it,
you could see his back foot slip out from underneath of him as he tried to plunge into the line.
I'll see how straight the lines are.
Paul, I'm surprised at the lack of handing off the ball. I mean, as I said earlier, the Rebels' only success really on offense last time against the Raiders came by rushing the ball.
Well, again, it was also late in the
short
game.
Turnover on downs.
That Khalil did get his some of his yardage when the contest was already done, basically. So
yeah.
I think when you look at film, you're looking at things that you're going to have some success with, but you bring in McKinnon, you bring in Brown as quarterbacks. They have good arms, so you're going to base your attack around a good arm. So, and I myself, I would be handing off.
But to be fair, it's very hard to run the ball when you're trailing by 3 scores in the first 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah. Because you want to score, and it takes time to run the ball downfield.
So the Raiders take over after the turnover on downs. Blitz from the Rebels here. Xander Bailey gets his first touch of the day. Spins out of a tackle. He's got a first down on a shifty little run there. And second-year guy Xander Bailey is, and Paul, he was the story for me, along with Nick Hunchak, of the Cullen Cup game last year, in which the Raiders went down to Westshore and upset the first-place Rebels to win the BC Championship. Xander Bailey, one of the gutsiest performances I've ever watched.
Oh, I agree with you. I think both those guys, they were the difference. And
he was a young, undersized rookie. Yep. That Rebels D-line was all big men. They were slamming him into the ground all day. He never gave up.
Yeah, it was his chance to shine, and he took advantage of that and said, okay, I'm going to run the football. I'm going to show that I'm a good running back.
Gets about 5 here on a first down carry. Sets up second and manageable from the Rebel 30-yard line. About halfway
another
through
score
the third
here
quarter.
would hurt.
Yeah.
And then you get into a rhythm too. I think at the end of the day, you want to get into a rhythm, and you have the game plan, and that guy's offside, so they're going to move back 5 yards.
We're laughing. Brett Ablett is about 10 yards offside, and the ball was not snapped.
See, those are one of those mental things that, you're in a second and 5, now you're going to be in second and 10. And
I'll tell you from experience, it's not as easy as you think it is to change the snap count, to go on 2 or 3 and try and, vary your snap count. It's very important to do it, because if the defense knows your snap cadence, it makes it a lot harder to block them, but it is not easy to get every guy on the field on the same page to hold their water, not to jump.
Absolutely. And the inflection in the voice, too. That if you don't do it all the time, you don't have to work on it.
2nd and 10. Bailey lost his footing, and he'll go down.
Pretty slippery out there.
Yes,
but if you change, like you say, change the cadence, if you change the snap count, and you're saying go, and then different things like that, it's a lot of mental strength to make sure you're not moving yourself.
Jake Ousted with the tackle there, and it will be a punting situation, I would assume, here with just under 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. Raiders with a 29-point lead. You are watching BCFCTV.com. Dominic Abassi with Paul Short. You can send us a tweet. We'd love to hear from you at Dom Abassi, DOMABASSI on Twitter. If you want to send us a message, let us know where you're tuning in from, as Hunchak just got that kick away, and Womack will get it out to about the 10.
Yeah, it's not a bad return. Again, it's one of those things that you want to pin them deep and get the ball down there. The weather's wet again out here, and I see some people covering up their chihuahuas. And
yeah, it is coming down more now than maybe all day. It's kind of been on and off, very light rain. This is not by any means a hard rain, but enough to certainly dampen the proceedings here. Week 5 in the BCFC after the Labor Day league-wide bye week. This is the first of the action here in Week 5. 2 more night games to go tonight. Of course, all of the action on BCFCTV.com. Those broadcasts powered by Remax. Here's a big gain for Khalil James. His best of the day. About 15, 20 yards up to the 35-yard line. He just outproduced his entire first half on that carry.
Just run up the middle. Just find the hole. A little bit of pull.
You can see the hole right in the middle. A little trap inside. Oh, I love a good old school trap play.
Yeah, you don't see that much anymore.
Don't see much. It's all zone blocking now, where the offensive lineman moves as a unit. And the backs just kind of pick their way up the field. And with guys like Jamel Lyles and Trey Campbell, they're built for zone blocking, But Khalil James, to me, seems like more of a north-south trap style kind of runner.
Yes, yeah.
Mason Brown elects to keep it here, and that is a very good 25-yard gain on a QB keeper.
Exact same play they just ran,
look
except
at the Raiders
quarterback
lose
kept
contain there.
Yeah, the quarterback, Brown, kept the ball in this one after they pulled the guard, made it all look like the last play they ran.
So back-to-back running plays gain about 50 yards here for the Rebels, and they are over midfield. It's almost like somebody thought they should have been running the ball, Paul,
But
maybe
again,
we're not so crazy.
But again, you look at the scoreboard. You're saying, the
Defense
Raiders don't want anybody going deep real quickly, so they're going to have guys on their heels rather than moving forward. So
pump fake, it's not there. So Brown slings it over to his back, James. He breaks a tackle, hauled down for a 5 or 6 yard gain. That's something actually Karim Mayer, the defensive coordinator for the Raiders, has talked about to me. He said, you know what, I don't mind playing a little soft. But they're not going to get in the end zone on us.
Yeah, and a lot of teams' philosophies are like that, except as a fan, you watch them and you go, come on, guy, that type of thing. But, and you got to always give credit to the other teams. The other teams are trying just as hard as you are.
There's a great tackle.
That was a nice play. He had the
that
edge.
Was Doyle Wesley. Impressive from Doyle Wesley.
Yeah, you see on the replay here. But he just fought him off. You see everything. Ball carry on his inside shoulder.
That's a great tackle. Separates from the block, lunges out, takes 200-plus pound running back with his arms only. Very impressive. Third down, Rebels are going to go. Down, Rebels are going to go. Brown wants to go and run. That's not going to work. Turnover on downs. Second straight drive. Not much choice though, really.
Interesting to see that they've got Brown in here the whole time, and I'm not sure what happened to Ashton.
McKinnon standing. Helmet on right behind the coaching staff on the sidelines. That is the 7th turnover on downs, 3 interceptions, 1 fumble.
Yeah, that's again, the score indicates there have been some troubles on the Rebel side for sure. But again, this is something that, the Raiders, you got to do some positive things. You don't want to leave something on the, on the field that you got to do. You got to work on. You get chances.
Mike West.
Yeah, that was a nice pass.
Galloping across the middle of the field. I think they've hit him on that quick 2-step slant pattern probably 5 times of his today.
Oh, absolutely. And that used to be a play that every team had in their playbook years ago. But, just get the ball in your best athlete's hands and let him do his own thing. A quick pass. It was take the snap, 2 steps, throw the ball, and it was on a line, and the only guy that can catch it is the receiver.
Xander Bailey.
Nice move.
Break and tackle.
He got small, I guess. He's not a really big guy, but you see on the replay, when he takes a handoff, he cuts through the hole, and he gets as small as he can. As you see
How
the
much
cut.
smaller could he get?
I know. Well, if he's any smaller, his breath would smell like earthworms for sure. But yeah, he just made things happen by staying small and square. Good running backs do that. Those are the Rhett Williams. It's the Cale James. That's how they play.
He's an Nanaimo product, is Xander Bailey. 1st and 10. LeBerge to Bailey. Good stuff from him here. We did get a tweet here, Paul, and it was a good reminder. Reminded me I forgot about it here. Wendy tweeting us, visit the comment about the Rebels making the playoffs and the Huskers not. And I forgot that you had brought that up in the first half. It's something that I think certainly can talk about. We'll see what happens on the 2nd and 5 play here, and we can break down the BCFC standings as we're nearing the midpoint of the season. It's time to start talking playoffs already. LeBerge, he had a man wide open, but the front 7 of the Rebels getting back home for sack of the day, and I believe that was Moore Williams again. If it is, it would be his 3rd sack of the day. The blitz on, right up the gut. The rip move. There was a player running wide open up the seam too, but no chance for LeBerge.
No time at all.
So let's take a look at this here.
What, did I say that?
You did say that. It's very much on tape. The Raiders are going to try a field goal here. They will bring on Jacob Normore, who is 2 for 3. That is not going to get it. Misses.
No, I think he got it out.
He'll get out of the end zone as well.
The Rebels move the ball to the 20.
So let's
the ball to the 20.
So let's look at the standings here. We are heading into the midpoint of the season this weekend. Valley 3-1. Valley 3-1. The Raiders 3-1. Okanagan 2-1-1. Westshore 1-1-1. Remember, they haven't played. The Westshore Rebels are going to host Kamloops next weekend. That is a 4-point game.
Yes.
In the standings. So the Rebels, I think, fair to say, out for the game that was canceled up in Kamloops earlier this season.
Correct.
So that automatically, assuming that the Rebels lose here today, and you feel, Paul, that the Valley Huskers are the team out of the 5 that are going to drop out of the playoffs.
Well, my way of thinking is that the Huskers are playing good football right now. And now everybody is saying, hey, they're playing good football right now.
They're not going to surprise anyone.
No, and not derogatory towards them or unfair towards them. It's the Valley Huskers.
Yeah.
They're a guaranteed win every time you play them. And
They have been for 3 years.
33 games in a row, they were guaranteed to lose a game.
Yep. They hadn't won a game since 2014.
That's correct.
Coming into this season.
So everybody now is saying, okay, boy, they got a good football team.
Third quarter ending here.
And definitely going to improve. I think the Sun are going to improve as the season moves on. And I think the Rebels have a good football team. And I have a good football team. And I think at the end of the day, because Chilliwack has to play the Rebels twice, they've still got to play Okanagan twice. They haven't played them yet.
No, the Valley did beat Okanagan.
Did they play Okanagan already?
Yeah, they beat them.
Oh, that's right.
In Chilliwack as well.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah. Difficult. And I think, and what I mean by that, if they don't make the playoffs, it's not like they don't make the playoffs. It'll come down to week 10.
Yeah, close towards the end of the season as this pass too
absolutely.
high for Kane Stevenson.
I think a couple years ago or 3 years ago, it came down to week 10 to decide what the playoff positionings were.
Right.
But I think we're at the point where the talent level in the league is all the same this year. There isn't really any team that's jumped out dominating. So we've always had some guy that dominates.
I guess the best way to look at it
10.
here, I think what you're trying to say, Paul, is that the Raiders are going to be playoff teams.
Yes.
As the final 5 weeks play out, those three are going to separate themselves and be playoff caliber teams and in the standings. As Brown is going to run here on second down, and it's going to come down to Langley and Valley fighting for that fourth and final playoff spot.
Yeah, that's the way I got it, yeah.
I mean,
but if I actually said that. See, nobody's brought any proof.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting. Kamloops in week 3. Air quality because of the forest fires was horrible. They canceled the game all out together, full on canceled. So that means when those two teams play again next weekend in Westshore, it's a 4-point game. The winner of that game gets 4 points in the standings instead of 2. 4 points in the standings instead of 2, as you would typically see. So the Rebels are very right? And the Valley Huskers currently have 6 points. They should win this weekend to go to 8. And then they've got themselves into a bit of a tougher 8. And then they've got themselves into a bit of a tougher route of the schedule. Yeah. It's interesting to see. I think a horse race to the finish of week 10 in this season.
Oh, absolutely. And then, like I said, it's in the past you've always had. Every league has 2 teams in the 6 teams in the 6-team league, basically that, they're never going to make the playoffs, or they switch places, similar to what the 4. So a 3 years ago, the last week of the season, to see who was going to finish first, second, third, and fourth, we knew who the 2 teams that weren't going to make the playoff. But I think this year we're going to find that week who was going to finish first, second, third, and fourth. We knew who the 2 teams that weren't going to make the playoff. But I think this year we're going to find that week B and who won't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right,
I see what you're saying. As opposed to seeding.
Absolutely.
McKinnon on the 3rd down has enough for the 1st down here.
Yeah, because the Rebels still have to play the Huskers twice.
Yeah, the Rebels schedule.
And it's not a
McKinnon on the third down has enough for the first down here.
Yeah, because the Rebels still have to play the Huskers twice.
Yeah, the Rebels schedule.
And it's not a
next weekend, then they go Rams, Huskers, Sun.
Yes.
That week 9 Rebels Huskers game could be really interesting, depending, obviously, because the Rebels have the Broncos next weekend, then they go Rams, Huskers, Sun.
Yes.
That week 9 Rebels Huskers game could be really interesting, depending, obviously, on what happens.
The challenge is to stay into that upper echelon, if you will, and by doing some positive things and by recruiting and all those different things, but it's really difficult to get up there. That's why this year what Chilliwack's doing for the start that they've had is tremendous. Like they win tonight, it'll
shocking,
be 3
really.
in a row.
It's shocking. I mean, for them to have beaten the Raiders and the Sun by this point in the season, nobody would have predicted that, ever. Not a chance. I think I would have probably said, okay, I think I like Valley's chances to beat Kamloops in the 2 games this year. Beyond that, I don't know if they'll pick up more than those 2 wins. That would have been, honestly, my assessment at the start of the season based on my very educated guess, right? They blow me away. And I said this on my preview at BCFC preview that I do. I said Bob Reist is the coach of the year.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't care what happens for the rest of the season. He's the coach of the year. It's stunning, really. I don't think anybody, Paul, can understand how, like you were just saying, how hard it is to change the fortunes of a franchise that hasn't won a game for 3 years.
Yes.
Right?
Well, one of the things that Bob's done is he's kind of, what I think he's done, not for sure I know this, but he's like deflected all the outside voices just to concentrate on our 55 guys.
Yeah.
And that's one of the hardest challenges, because when you have a team that's not winning, everybody's got an opinion on why. Everybody's got we got to get a new coach, or this player, we don't like him.
Well, not only that, the players start to believe that they can't win.
Yep, and then you have that inside stuff with the team that you're not pulling your weight, or, there's a whole bunch of dynamics that goes in all of that. But what Bob's done is he's deflected all that away, and he said, let's just play some football, because we do have good athletes. And now the kids are saying, yeah.
He's also done a good job of saying the past is the past.
Yep.
We can't change it, but it's not the present.
That's correct.
And look at Rhett Williams scampering here deep into Rebel territory, the league's leading rusher, continuing to have a great day here as he rips off about 30 yards.
Yeah, again, just a little pull, it's a little tray action type thing where you're pulling a guard to kick out.
Gets a block from Nelms Horton downfield.
Yeah, and just get what you can get.
Very impressive young back. 9 minutes to go here.
But it's going to be interesting. It's why I love junior football. Junior football, in my opinion, is the best football in Canada.
Wow.
And based on the fact that you're dealing with athletes that are at the crossroad of their lives, if you will. Do I go to school? Can I go to school? I got to get a job. I got a girlfriend tugging at me one direction, and I got somebody else tugging me the other way. And they take the time to blend in, to play this game as a unit. and there's no guarantees. Nobody's getting paid. Nobody there's some scholarships available, but they're not here with the scholarship attached to the team. The team, whatever that is, they give them to go to school, but the school is completely separate. And so the dedication that these guys put on coming to practice and doing what they've got to do, and the dedication of all the coaches, and then to have it come down to possibly to the game 10 to decide how we're going to be and how we're going to finish, I think is great.
Yeah.
And it just does
That's
nothing
great for
more.
The league. It's,
absolutely.
The
And then
Valley Huskers I know they're focused on their own program, but what they've done for the league in general by becoming that 5th team in the mix is, I can't say enough what that means.
Absolutely.
The parity adds legitimacy to your league in so many ways, and it's really great to see.
Yeah, because you want your team, when you play, whoever you play, you want to put fans in the stands.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be playing somebody that you're going to beat 80-0 every week, you don't get the fans. And the fans is what makes this league go. Like even today, it's not full, but you've got your core fans here. Rebels got one end of the stands over there. They all, looks like there's about 40 or 50 of them came up for the game. But no, it's just if the season, I guess the way you work hard to put all this together. You go, you get all these volunteers to deal with housing and deal with jobs for these guys or schooling or whatever it is, get them in the community doing community service work. You put all that together, you're going to have these 55 guys, 65 guys that are on your roster. They're going to leave junior football after their 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, whatever their length of stay is, but it has a huge impact on their growth moving forward, and then we'll never forget it. It's a huge, huge part of their lives. And when you consider the people that are volunteering in their whole lifetime, it's a small little part, but it's a huge part.
3rd down pass by the Raiders. Jake LeVerge here. I don't know if that was ruled incomplete or intercepted. I think they're going to say intercepted.
They say it was intercepted, but they got a flag on the play here.
Behind the play. Was that Malik Womack again?
Yes.
Would be his 3rd interception of the game.
I'm not sure what the penalty is. I'm not sure if it's holding or...
I don't know if it's going to stand, though.
This has slowed it down a bit, too, today.
So it'll be Moore Williams. A pair of major penalties offsetting, so replay 3rd down is the call here. I've always said that about the BCFC. I'll never quibble with the calls that get made because these are not professional referees. These guys are just, it's hard enough to get refs as it is for junior sports. These guys are out here doing the best they can. I'm not going to get on them for the calls they make, but the pace of the game has got to be increased. From a fan perspective, you can't have 3 minutes between a play. It needs to be that quick hitting pace to keep the energy and the interest high. I've always said that. As this will be a turnover on downs here by the Raiders.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that at the end of the day, if we could pick up the pace, and I think one of those is you make 20-second clocks mandatory throughout the whole league. So the quarterbacks can see when it's blown in, it's 20 seconds.
In the Prairie Football Conference, they have play clocks in every stadium.
Yes.
Although, to be fair, most of the Prairie teams play in CFL stadiums. Yes. They already have the hardware. So I agree. That's part of it, for sure. I just, the way the ball's spotted, the way penalties are assessed, it just has to be more crisp to keep that pace of play up. Ashton McKinnon in here, 7 minutes to go in this football game. Raiders with a 29-point lead. The Raiders scored on the first drive, I should say, of this half. Since then, have really kind of put it in cruise control. The Rebels have not been able to muster anything at all on offense.
Yeah, they've struggled big time. They're playing not bad defensively, but I think they're still, again, if they're changing, they make a coaching change and they say they're going to change the offense, they're going to adjust some of the defense. It's going to take some time to get that where everybody's feeling comfortable with their assignments. And
Shane Beatty came in as the new head coach. He was already here as the assistant head coach, but he's not the offensive coordinator. That was Charlie's domain.
Yes.
Charlie Cardelicchia goes out, and Shane Beatty comes in and installs a new offense. Well, the Rebels are effectively on week 1.
That's correct.
With their new offense, whereas everyone else is on week 5.
Yeah.
Right? So that right there certainly makes a bit of a challenge for your offensive unit.
Yeah. When you do change your offense, you're still going to run, you're still going to pass. Your base plays are going to stay the same, but it's some of the eye candy stuff on the passing plays to where you're going to challenge the quarterbacks to tier it, or you're going to make sure that you're not going to have one guy way deep and one guy way too, where you spread it out, you make it where it looks like it's going to be some sort of pattern working within the structure. But still, at the end of the day, a player has to get his head around. Now there's a slight change, and he's got to be thinking, okay, last 3 weeks I had to do this, but now I got to do this. And like you say, it's like week 1 all over again. And so it's going to take them a little time to make that happen. And for the Rebels, I guess if the way to say it is Kamloops is just what they need.
Yeah.
To get them a little bit of confidence, and nothing against Kamloops and Brad Koshamoka back down there, but it's just the way Kamloops is playing right now. The Rebels need them to come to Victoria.
A Broncos game at home, 4 points to grab. The Rebels should, if everything again, feel very, very good about themselves coming out of week 6.
Absolutely.
They're going to win a game at home, probably handily in front of their fans. Maybe get that offense rolling a little bit, see some success, earn 4 points in the standings. I've never seen that before. Has there ever been a 4-point game played before, Paul? And
I think way back, like in the 70s, I think there was a couple. I know I was coaching the Victoria Dolphins. I think it was in 77 as an assistant coach, and we played the North Shore Cougars in a 4-point game because there was a ferry strike, and we had to we couldn't get off the island, or they couldn't get the island, whatever it was, so it ended up being a 4-pointer.
So, I mean, that's an extraordinary circumstance, but you can see your team vault up in the standings pretty quick.
Yeah, no kidding. Absolutely.
Picking up 4 points for a win, right?
Especially, and mind you, the Dolphins teams back then were terrible, but, not knocking any of the guys.
Yeah.
That played, love all those guys, but a 4-point game didn't mean anything.
Right.
We were going to lose anyway. Type of thing.
That is Jason Piper limping off the field, favoring his right ankle a little bit. 5:20 to go here.
It'll be interesting because the key after the Huskers game tonight, I'm not sure who they play.
Valley is in Kamloops
tonight, and then next week.
Next week, I'll tell you right now. Actually, next week they're in Langley.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That'll be a real difficult one.
They've lost to Langley. The only loss on the Huskers' record is to Langley. Decided loss as well, and that's the only win that Langley has. And that. Langley has. And that, to me, is what makes it so bizarre, and I think does add a little credence to what you said, where Valley, they're first place right now, but where will they be in week 9, week 10?
Right.
Will they be in week 9, week 10?
Right.
Because that loss to the Rams does stand out.
It does, and you now, and again, like we were saying, you're not a surprise anymore. You're not a surprise anymore. You're not playing good football.
But the Rams then lost by 1 point to the Raiders in a game that they absolutely should. in a game that they absolutely should have won.
That's correct.
And they lost by a touchdown to the Sun in a game where they made 10 turnovers.
Yeah, and they lost the first game against the Rebels by leading in the last 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
So Langley is a 1-3 team that could easily be 4-0.
Yes.
You know, so I mean, there's much to be determined. It's
and
really
I think,
going to be fun.
it's going to be very puzzling for Coach Blocker as well.
Yeah.
But again, in fairness to Matt, he's got this brand new team, and they got a new quarterback.
They have, what did he say? 3 returning players on their roster?
Something like that, yeah.
It might have been even, I think it was 80% was the turnover. LeBerge goes deep for North Rainey. He gets blasted before the ball even arrives, and that will be a pass interference situation there. And I don't know if that was just frustration or what from Ronan Silver, but
yeah, I think he was probably just saying, okay, I'm gonna knock you down, Heather. You can see here, just Jake just directs a little bit of traffic here and throws it up, and Ronan Silver just says, nah.
The ball was still at fifth franchise win over Westshore, 25-3-1 all time after this game is over. That point disparity is pretty telling.
It is. It really is, isn't it?
Raiders have scored in the 28 previous games 1,093 points, and they've given up 395. So
yeah,
it's kind of about a 50-20 sort of average there, based off my really quick math in my head there.
Yes. Yeah, it's
certainly changed in the last 3 years, though.
It has, and it's great that it has.
Yes.
You don't want to have, because the guys just don't want to come and play. You have that mental set that says, nah, we're going to get whooped today. I don't want to play, and so you go through the motions rather than
or
put
you
the 100 down and
get distracted in all the other extracurricular melee type stuff we saw in week 4 that resulted in ultimately the departure of the Rebels head coach and 3 suspensions.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate.
Cordell Holder, a linebacker for the Rebels, was suspended for the rest of the season, which is a heavy-handed but I think deserved punishment handed down by the league. And then I was talking to Coach Beatty before the game, and he said, "Now we just cut him. He's gone." So
yeah. Well, when we
suspension
looked at
or not, Cordell Holder
yes.
is no longer on the Westshore Rebels team.
Yeah. Well, when we looked at it, he came off the bench, and he was excited, and he knocked the guy down, and from behind at full speed, and
off
then
the bench,
and then he started kicking and punching, and it's just kind of like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And I understand as a former coach, and
no, I mean, you can't even justify that, Paul, because even if you're on the field, you're in the heat of it, and you throw a punch, or okay, fine, right? You're in the heat of it, but to consciously come off the bench and get into an altercation. I've been around this league since 2003, and I can honestly say I don't know if I've ever seen that.
No, a
player leaving the bench to engage in an altercation.
Yeah, I don't recall any of that. I know you have guys when the teams get together. Sometimes guys come off the bench and they'll jostle a little bit, bump shoulder pads
near the sidelines or something, right?
But not come sprinting on the field and knock a guy down from behind. Yeah. It's just
Shane Beatty said too, before the game, he said that was embarrassing. Honestly, I was disgusted by what I saw 2 weekends ago, and we're turning the page on that.
Yeah. Well, I think the Rebels over the last, probably get them to say from 2005 when the Raiders got the franchise up here, that they feel they've been picked on. But I really feel that 2 weeks ago was the lowest point the Rebels program has ever been in. I think that was just all that frustration built up of what started this year on some of the things, when Coach Kardalicki was suspended for a game to start with. He got sanctioned by the league over some of the comments on social media. So I think that just a culmination of all that negative stuff, and it was the lowest point. And now they're going to start building it up again and get onto the top part of the bell curve.
I've seen a lot of teams. 3-minute warning here now. I've seen it time and time again, and Matt Blocker, Coach Snoop, used to do this with the Raiders. That us against the world mentality.
Yes.
And it was that nobody likes us. Nobody wants us to win. They want to see us lose. Let's go out and prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Stick it to them. And there is certainly a way to make that a positive fire point for your team, a flash point where your team feeds off that in a positive way. You know, it bands you together. Say, we got no one but each other, and it's us against the world. And that's a positive place to come from. But it can turn into a bit of a negative thing, which I think is, you know, what we saw previously.
Absolutely, because all part of that whole process is discipline.
Right.
And the discipline within the team has to be ultimate and so secure that no player is going to step outside of that safety zone, if you will, of that discipline, because he's going to be punished by the team. And I think that's where the Raiders captured that very well, and the Rebels didn't.
Yeah.
And they would use the antics, if you will, if that's a word you want to use, to justify that this team doesn't respect us or anything like that. So I think at the end of the day, they're going to be better football players and better men for it, and Coach Beatty's going to lead them in a direction that's going to say, everybody's against us, but we're going to do it our way inside the confines of our discipline.
Yeah.
We're not going to hurt ourselves by being really stupid. And I think that's what they needed. I really do. I was, as an alumni of this program, it started back in 1985 when Victoria was granted a junior franchise, and they have, you know, gone through different names, but it's the same team. And I've been around it since that time as well as a coach, and you know, and with the league and that. But I was embarrassed for it. I really was. I was kind of like, oh man, this is what we don't need.
3rd down, Ashton McKinnon here in the shotgun. 2:18 left to go in this football game. McKinnon hit as he throws, and it falls incomplete. And the Raider D-line has really had themselves a great football game. You see Brody Taylor, the veteran there.
Yeah, lots of push on that one.
It's been a lot to handle today.
Another turnover on downs. That's got to be pretty close to 10 turnovers today, I would think, for the Rebels.
8 by my count. I might have missed one in the mix there as well.
But yeah, you know, I think Rebels will grow from this. The Raiders, their confidence is just, you know, getting better and better.
4-1.
And we're starting to get into the second half of the season. That's when the crunch time's going to come. You're going to find out because injuries start to take their toll. Everything sort of changes in the second half. You have your team set, and you got to make sure that everybody stays on a level plane and everybody's still learning and growing and making sure that it's all about team moving forward, because the ultimate goal is to get into a Canadian championship. And the winner of BC this year hosts Ontario first, which you know, be a difficult challenge, but Ontario I don't think matches up team for team with the BCFC.
Well, they certainly haven't in the history of basically the CGFL, really. I mean, I think back 2007, the Raiders lost in St. Leonard in Montreal. I mean, since then.
Well, the only ones I can think. Well, I know back in the, I think it was 1950. I think it was. The Vancouver Blue Bombers lost to the Hamilton, I think they're called the Wildcats,
right?
For the Canadian Championship. And the only other ones I could think of was the Raiders in 2007. And
they lost in St. Leonard,
and the Surrey Rams in '92 when they went to the Canadian Bowl in Ottawa. They lost to the Sooners. It was the only 3 times I can think of.
I mean, there was the Raiders went out to Windsor not too many years ago.
Crushed them.
And they crushed them, and then got crushed themselves by the Thunder that year, I believe it was. So in the Canadian Bowl. So the disparity between the PFC to the BCFC's there, and then further down the chain to the OFC.
Yeah.
So
well, it's kind of like the analogy I use is like if you watch U.S. college football, the PFC is the SEC.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got the BCFC is like the Pac-12, and the OFC is like the All-American Conference.
Right.
You know, just good enough, but just not up there yet.
Yeah.
But mind you, we can't say that. You know, it's been a while since BC teams won a Canadian Bowl. The last one was in 2009.
Yeah. Well, Tom Sargent has had a lot to say about that.
Oh, he
Those
sure
Saskatoon Hilltops.
He's got a conveyor belt there.
Hilltops
for sure.
off to a 3-0 start. They have given up a grand total of 6 points. I should say 16 points this season.
Yeah, and they've and I would suspect, well, the Prairie's host Canadian Bowl, and everybody's probably putting their money on Saskatoon to win it, but you never know.
How could you not?
Yeah, Regina's playing pretty good right now. They beat Edmonton last week, so in Edmonton, the Huskies. And it's tougher to travel on the Prairies because there's such long bus rides.
Ugh. Taking a bus from Calgary to Winnipeg does not sound very fun,
no,
to be honest with you.
No.
And there's not much there when you get at the end of the road either. No offense.
I'm not saying anything. I already said my piece.
Have some people tuning in from Winnipeg here today.
That's true.
Second and long here. Fumbled snap. And
flag down. I think it might be offside Raiders.
Cole McGarvey, by the way, is in at quarterback here in place of Jake LeBerge. As the rain picks up steadily here. It'll
be interesting because the Hilltops are going for the, I think, what are they calling it, one for the thumb or something like that?
Yeah.
For 5 in a row. They're the first team ever to win 4 in a row.
Did the Regina junior team not win 4 in a row?
No, that's one of the things everybody thought. The Rams for sure, but they won 3, but they didn't win 4.
The old Jason Claremont days when he was playing.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, they had Frank McChrystal head coach. He had a dynasty going
and
there.
That was a franchise that ultimately ended up turning into a university football team. So you know you're doing something right then. And I remember that because it was 2008 when the Raiders went to Burlington, and they just destroyed the Braves in the Canadian Bowl. And Andrew Harris annihilated 4 touchdowns,
400
410 yards, I think, rushing.
Yeah,
he had over 700 yards and 7 touchdowns in 2 playoff games.
Yes.
In the win over the Hilltops and then the win over the Braves. I'd never seen anything like that performance, and his stats surpassed those of Jason Claremont. I believe Kelly Bates was on that team as well, the former CFL offensive lineman. I mean, that was you can actually see, if you flip the Canadian Bowl upside down, you can still see Jason Claremont's signature in there, and Kelly Bates, because that's the tradition when you get your hands on that Canadian Bowl. You get the right to write something inside it, and up underneath it's the old wood trophy that's hollow underneath. So.
Yeah, and that year was amazing for Andrew because 400 yards rushing in the Canadian Bowl.
First play of the game.
Yeah.
Was I remember the play. They called it the 24 cross. And it was just a straight handoff off the right side, and he took it untouched, 75 yards for a touchdown, and pretty much set the tone for that day.
And that year, that Raiders team, they were the first and only team, I think, from BC that has ever won a game on the Prairies.
In the Prairies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very difficult to do.
To be honest, they should not have beaten Saskatoon that day. I called that game freezing. I remember my toes felt like they were going to fall off. The Raiders really probably didn't deserve to win that game, but Andrew Harris won that game.
Yes.
I mean, he just took it over. He had about 360 yards of rushing, I think, in that game. Some plays where he would just run from sideline to sideline. It looked like Adam football, and they could not. And Tom Sargent said that after the game. He said, we did everything we needed to win except for him.
Yeah.
We didn't stop him. And now he's having an MVP caliber season for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Oh, he sure is. And it's one of those guys that you can look at, and there's not many. There's guys that have done it, but what Andrew's done, being just playing junior football only, and his talent to be where he is today, that's tremendous. And he's still a great supporter of junior football. Talks very highly of it.
Strong proponent of the VI Raiders program and the league in general. Kane Stevenson, first down here. He's still fighting.
He's a good football player, that guy.
Yeah.
But I think that's what they're working here between Stevenson and Greenaway. Sorry. I think that's who they got to get the ball to. The 2 guys, the Rebels, have to get more involved in their offense from here on out because they're going to make the plays. They're such good athletes.
We have a number 3 in the capital.
First and 10, McKinnon, shotgun set. Final minute of this game. for Greenaway.
Well,
Got
that's
it.
a nice pass.
Dropped it right on him. Perfect ball there. 39 seconds on the clock. Sean Greenaway has really the potential to be uncoverable with his combo of size and speed and ability to go up and get the ball, good hands.
Yeah, he just used his speed to get past the defender.
Raiders
and
are
the
going to take
safety
a
wasn't
timeout
there.
here.
I would too. I gotta want, if I'm Coach Hawk, I'm not letting those guys score.
Raiders gave up 7 last week or 2 weekends ago to the Rebels. They shut out the Broncos earlier this season. 3 so far today they've given up. They don't want to make it 10. 2 more games today to come on BCFCTV.com. 6 o'clock kickoff at Hillside Stadium. Gorgeous venue. Broncos hosting the Huskers, and then 7 o'clock the Rams in Kelowna to take on the Sun. Both of those games will be streamed live at BCFC TV. Raiders next week in Kelowna to take on the Sun, a test. Always,
Huge
no matter
test.
what. Sun can be struggling, whatever, even if they lose to Langley. I think if the Sun lose to Langley, if they were tonight, that makes them even harder to play against next week, right?
Absolutely. And it just, you kind of going, okay, what's going on with this league? And that's
And then you've got the Rebels home to the Broncos for the 4-point game next Saturday. McKinnon in trouble, gets out of it. He can do this better than most, and he's going to score. Ashton McKinnon up and over, touchdown Rebels. Hasn't been back with the team for long, but he's into the end zone for the first touchdown of the day for the Westshore Rebels.
Why he's such a threat. He's got such good feet. You see on the play here, he just wanted to throw the ball, but finds his hole and says, I'm going to take off here. And there's a couple good blocks.
That's a really nice block there.
And 81 threw a nice block there just to chip him
enough.
up. Yeah, just enough to slow him down. So 28 seconds to go. It'll be 32-10 final score. Rebels back to the drawing board. Shore it up. Raiders just confidence build.
Raiders will be a first-place team, at least for they'll be first place alone, at least till the end of the evening. The Huskers do hold the tiebreaker at the moment over the Raiders, thanks to a 2-point victory over VI in Week 1.
Well, it can be interesting. It'll be 2 good games tonight. I agree with you that Chilliwack should win up in Kamloops, but again, it's a road game. You're on the bus for a few hours. You get your sea legs going, and Kamloops is improving. Week in and week out, they're going to keep improving. They've got a good staff. They've got some good athletes. I think where they're struggling right now, I think, is at the quarterback spot.
Yeah, former Langley Ram pivot up there now, Rylan Matters. And, yeah, they haven't been able to find their answer at that position.
Yeah.
Offensively, I think in general, there hasn't been a lot of flair or excitement for that team.
And I think, and now as we enter that second half of the season as well, we're going to start to see some of the athletes step out. Like Maximilian Joseph.
Yeah.
Is just on the verge of breaking it out.
Max Joseph is a former Bronco, now a Ram.
Mike West.
High school standout. Mike West looks like the Raiders receiver, looks like he is finally starting to get into game shape. Rebels are going to go onside here.
He's got to get up high here and try to knock it out of bounds, and the last person to touch it after 10 yards, it's their football if it goes out of bounds. And that's not good. That's a good call.
Well, they got it. That actually looked way too easy. Like way too easy.
It was a good call. It was
perfectly executed. Great kick
really
there by Isaiah Cardalicia. He just knocked that down. It went about 11 yards and But the Raiders players didn't even try and catch that ball. I don't really exactly know what was going on there.
Well, I think they got outnumbered on that side because everybody was worried about the near side where they're going to try to chip it up high and knock it out of bounds. But I think they had 3 Rebels against 2 Raiders, so that's going to win every time.
Shaking his head on the sidelines saying, what the heck is that? I mean, yeah, it doesn't mean anything right now, but...
Well, again, those are the little learning things that, you know, the coaches will put in their back pocket and remind them the next time, and they'll work on how to defend that type of thing. And
Mason Brown to throw. He's going to run. So now he's going to throw.
Yeah, just dumped it out. Chasing him down hard from behind. It was Dylan Neufeld, and they just got the ball away just before Dylan got to him. And Nathan Filetto makes the catch here and just, oh, sorry, it wasn't Nathan.
No,
Josh Tipton.
Yeah, it was Josh Tipton who pulled that in.
But even with the score, 32-10, all the little positive things that the Rebels do, just like Coach Beatty will use that as the builder as they go forward here in team meetings and what they're teaching to say, you know, we can do this, we can do that. That'll work for us. And
Khalil James with a good rip there up the left side on a short pass.
And on the flip side of it, Coach Hawk will, you know, be after his guys that, you know, we have to play 60 minutes. We've got to play 60 minutes full speed.
That's exactly, Paul, it's exactly another thing he said to me this week in our weekly coaches interview. He said, we haven't come even close to 60 minutes of football yet. And when it's playoff time and you're playing a great team, that's going to hurt you. Oh, Brown just missing. Stevenson over the middle there. 7 seconds left to go in this football game.
Somebody coming off with a elbow or shoulder.
Left arm issue there.
That was Niles Haney.
Look at a number there, Haney. Lots of motion here. Mason Brown looks left side for Deshaun Greenaway. Jump ball. Just out of bounds as Greenaway couldn't hold it. 1.8 seconds on the clock, so what I would think will be the last play of the football game right here.
Yeah, they might try something like that again because Deshaun was open.
Well, it doesn't matter if he's open.
Oh, you got to make the catch. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, if you throw the ball up in the air and he's covered by 3 guys, he still has every chance to catch it with his vertical and height.
Yeah.
I mean, he can be covered all you want, but he can still come down with that ball. I think they're going to isolate him at the top of the field here and maybe try that again. You're right. There they go to him, and that one's out of bounds. Flag out, though.
Throwing interference penalty here. It's a ball be placed at the 1-yard line.
So they'll get another play. You really need to throw that flag?
Yeah, you know, sometimes, yeah, you look at it, but
I mean, yeah, I guess.
But I guess at the end of the day, if it was,
I mean, it was a foul.
Yep.
Yeah, but
if they didn't throw it there, and then it's a 21-20 score or something, and you go, did you really have to throw it? Yeah, so it happened in the end zone, so it should place the ball on the 1-yard line, I believe. No, looks like they moved it up to about the 7-yard line. Well, some of the things the Rebels are going to have decisions to make on is going to be who's going to be their starting quarterback.
Sure.
I'm not really sure if he's got the speed to score here.
Yeah, touchdown. Mason Brown on the keeper, so the Rebels will end the game. with back-to-back touchdowns make the final score a little bit closer than the overall game showed.
Yeah, I think that, you go back to the Rebels have a tough decision to make who their starting quarterback's going to be.
So the extra point is through, and that'll do it. (32-17) the final score here from Caledonia Park in Nanaimo as you join us up here in the broadcast booth now. And Paul, a really strong performance at times from the Raiders today, but that 60-minute certainly still eluding this football team.
Absolutely. I think Coach Hawk's going to be talking to these guys because next week they got the Sun, and they got to put 60 minutes in because the Sun put 60 minutes in. But you got to take away from this game the fact that they did win, number one, and they did control the play. I thought they controlled most of the play. The Rebels hurt themselves a little bit. They weren't. I don't feel that they were really ready for this game, for this style of game today. They needed a softer game, if you will. But I think at the end of the day, the Rebels will walk away from this game saying, okay, we're doing something positive. We turned a corner here. And the Raiders are still going to say, hey, we're tied for first place. Let's go get the Sun next week.
Who do you think, based off what we saw today, based off some of the skill sets, is the guy that can push this Rebel team forward at the quarterback spot? Is it Ashton McKinnon? Is it Mason Brown? Or is it a mixture of the two?
Probably it'll be a mixture of the two, but I think I would lean more towards Mason Brown, mainly based on the fact that Ashton McKinnon is such a good athlete that you can play him elsewhere.
I think he can help you win at another spot.
Yeah, I do. Sure. I believe that as well. And I think as an inside receiver or defensive end, where he came off the edge a few times when he played for the Rebels in 16. So I think maybe the decision is going to be very difficult for Coach Beattie, but I would lean personally myself into Mason for sure.
Jake LeBerge with another strong football game from him, a pair of touchdown passes. Mike West is starting to look like he's rounding into shape. Well over 100 yards on the ground as well for Rhett Williams today. So some strong offensive performances from this Raider group, and defensively as well. They look sharp against the Westshore Rebels. The Raiders pick up the win. They move to 4-1, and at least until the end of the night, they are alone in first place in the BCFC. Big thanks to everybody who had a part in the broadcast today. Roll Focus, fantastic job with the production on scene here in Nanaimo. For Paul Short, I'm Dominic Abassi. Thanks for joining us on BCFC TV.